Hi friends! Welcome to Nature Check's Arda Campaign, the show where you come for the game and stay for the science. Hi, I'm Sheryl, my pronouns are she, her, and I'm the Dungeon Master for the Arda Campaign. I'm also a PhD candidate studying ecology at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and when I'm not doing my research, I'm a science communicator and the host of the Roving Naturalist on YouTube. Next we've got Cindy.
Hi, I'm Cindy, she, her. I'm a science enthusiast and play an Andorian engineer over on Heroes of Awesome Constellation on the Weirdlings Twitch and YouTube channels, but here I'm playing Nautia, the water method druid.
Next there's Ryan.
Hello, I'm Ryan. I am a plant healthcare specialist and naturalist and native plant enthusiast in Pittsburgh. I work doing plant healthcare and quality control in medical cannabis here in Pittsburgh. In our game, I play Fletcher, who is a human wizard, and we both use he, him, his pronouns.
Then there's Nancy.
Hi everyone, my name is Nancy. I'm an entomologist, which means that I study bugs, and I live in Quito, Ecuador, where normally I'm toting your bum around the jungle to look at all the amazing insects. And Sheryl is coming real soon to see our bums being toted around the jungle. I play a human-ish, young, roguish woman. Her name is Kay, and we use she, her pronouns.
And then there's Peter.
Hey everybody, my name's Peter. I'm an entomologist working at NCANT University in North Carolina, studying horticultural crops and improving crop production methods for local farmers. When I'm not doing that, I'm taking pictures of bugs. Here I play Cedric, the dwarven cleric, and we both use he, him pronouns.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for the I think
Sorry,
he did it successfully. Pretty good.
It's just my scroll down on my notes, but anyway, thank you.
We've completed that step.
Thank you to everyone who's standing in live right now, and thank you so much for helping us get to 500 followers on Twitch. That means so much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It really means a lot that you like what we do. So we'll do some more right now. You know the drill. Hang out with us in the chat, use your channel points to help the PCs or create chaos, and check the reference section down below for social media handles and a link to our Discord. You also know that you can find the video recordings of our games on our YouTube channel and the audio versions on all podcast platforms. Our 50th episode of Arda is, oh my gosh, it's next episode. Wow! On October 17th, we will be hosting a marathon live stream starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. I'm not sorry, Andrew. The marathon will include 3 TRPG one-shots featuring all kinds of science, not just biology. And the games will be GM'd by Andrew from The First Watch, Allie from RP Geeks, and Nikki from Beholder to No One in that order. If you didn't catch the promo posters running on the stream before we went live, you'll have another opportunity to see them during our midway break, and I will be posting them on our Twitter this week. We are so very excited to spend October 17th with all of you and all of our new guests playing games and talking about science. Woo! No, seriously, so stoked. I am so very excited for this. All right, but I guess we should get into today's action first. You have been on a really long trek to find the source of the pollution, folks. And then, once you had found it, you were forced to take a detour into the mountains in order to save your friend. But you've finally begun retracing your steps, and you have just re-arrived at the dwarven mine beneath the desert. It is now morning on Telosum, the 18th day of Brightrun. You have set up Fletcher in a room near the exit of the mine to block any escape Mafok might try to make, and the other 3 of you have continued down the path towards the room where you first encountered him. After some trouble with the loose rubble at the entrance to the large waterfall room, Kay and Cedric are finally safe back on solid ground. What would you like to do now?
So...
Yeah, this is all you 3. You got to deal with that bridge.
Yeah.
I'm
I may
chilling.
have completely forgotten about the stupid gravel walk when we were making those plans.
Do either of you remember where the trigger was on this bridge?
Well, Kay found one of them, I think, last time, and then slipped several times before falling into the river, if I remember correctly. And then I believe you and Fletcher looked at the rocks and figured out which one it was.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I made it across and back, remembering where things were. So like if you saw it before, you could check where they were before, but they also could not. They could be in different spots.
I mean, I guess I could.
I think we should probably just all walk back across all this gravel pile, go ask Fletcher where it is, and then walk back. What do you guys think?
Or I could go test it, because if it flips, I can fly.
That sounds like a way better idea.
I mean, if we're pretty confident that all it does is flip.
That's all it did last time, right?
That's all it did last time.
this time it's a mimic. What?
Wait, what?
60-foot bridge mimic?
Yeah. It just
It's a
folds in
mimic
half in the
harass.
middle, and like.
Yeah, I could go walk out and sort of hit the spot we thought was bad, or maybe not hit the spot we thought was bad, and see if it's safe. I feel like that might be easier.
Yeah, that sounds good. Just like do a
just
clear
pay attention
path?
to where I walk. Yeah, just see where I walk, and then if it doesn't flip, then do the same thing I just did.
All right. Yeah, you got this. You got this, Nautia.
Okay.
All right.
You
So
got this.
So what are you trying? You're trying to walk on a path that's not going to trigger the bridge.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to avoid where I think I remember the thing being, and if anyone wants to like point it out to me to help with that. You do that?
Do I remember where
So-
it was?
I was gonna clarify the series of events. So Kay stepped on it the first time, and then she stepped on it the second time, and then Nautia was able to sort of point out to the two boys which, like, general section of the bridge Kay had been on when she went over. Cedric, you inspected the stones, and you were able to choose, like, a 5-foot square that you shouldn't step on, and then you and Fletcher were able to skirt that, and Fletcher was able to remember what to skirt so that you guys could get back out at the end of everything. So, like, ideally, somebody in this group should be able to remember or reestablish where it was.
Yeah. So,
Do we have to do some kind of check, or do we feel pretty confident that we remember where it was?
It depends. If you're just trying to remember, it'd be a straight intelligence check. If you'd like to go out on the bridge and start, investigating, you can do search checks.
I'm going to see if I remember to tell Nautia, because Nadia's going to walk out there, but I want to at least give her as much guidance as I can, so I just want to try and remember.
yeah, just for
If I can
funsies,
be
I will
like-
also try to remember.
Do it. And you have
This
one
intelligence
advantage
check
left.
Don't think we're going to waste it on this. I hope we're not going to waste it on this one.
Oh, starting off the night strong. That's what we... Yes!
Well, I did roll a 4,
Oh,
but
right,
it's
yes.
intelligence check,
Yeah.
so
I got 11, so
go.
yeah.
Okay.
that's passing, right?
Yeah.
That's a D.
But there's like, it's on the bridge somewhere.
Cedric, you
yeah.
remember that it was on the second half on the left-hand side.
This side, I think further to the other side. You got this, Nautia.
Oh, it's going to be one of those nights. Okay, great. I'm going to walk across.
You meet every night for us?
Yeah.
What are we going to do tonight, folks?
Fall
Laugh
down a
a
castle.
whole
The
lot.
same thing we do
A
every
whole lot.
night.
All right. I'm going to try to walk over, avoiding that part of the bridge.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so, like, are you... You're just walking. Just...
Yeah, because I have to actually put my weight on it to...
Alright. Yeah, so you do that, and, like, following his instructions, I'm assuming that means you're staying to the right. Okay, yeah. So you do that, and, like, basically, like, hugging the... Again, this bridge doesn't have, like, guardrails or anything, but you're, like, hugging the right-hand edge, and you make it all the way across, no problem.
Great. I turn around and wave at him and say, it worked.
Cedric, like, jumps up and down. He's like, yeah!
Kay shrugs and follows Nautia, but can Kay do a search check along the way, so see if she can, like, pinpoint kind of exactly where it is
Yeah,
as
sure.
she's crossing the bridge?
Do that.
15.
15. You do
17.
not, huh?
17.
17.
Sorry,
17. You do not find a specific trigger anywhere.
Okay. Sorry, guys, I can't see it, so I don't know. Must be hidden real good.
I'm just walking right behind Kay.
Okay. You do that?
Trying to step exactly where she steps.
Mm-hmm. No, you do that, and everybody makes it across to the other side of the bridge just fine. So to remind you and the audience, you crossed over this big, fairly fast-moving river that, like, the water still looks and smells pretty gross, and it's being fed by this waterfall, which, as you were crossing the bridge, the waterfall was upstream to your right, and you are now on this sort of big, open, platformy type space. Basically, it looks like at different times of year or whenever the water level gets higher, the river actually crests over the bank and, like, has sort of eroded out this big flat area. And then there are two natural sort of hallways, so again, eroded by water or something. One kind of to the left a ways towards the end of this big eroded platform space, and a broader one straight in front of you, which is the one that you have been down before.
I don't know, Cedric, this is your territory. I do believe that I was not conscious for this last time.
Yeah, this is pretty much the spot where you guys collapsed. I think we went about, I don't know, 20 feet down that hallway.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah,
That's-
down the hall a little bit.
That's where you guys collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you can still see that faint glow, because since all of you can see in the dark, you didn't have a light source with you, so you can see the faint blue glow coming from this main hallway.
So nice not having that stupid lantern, ruining our night vision, right, guys?
Something like that. Kay, like, holds her nose with her like, sleeve and hopes that she doesn't breathe in anything.
All right. Well, this time, if either of you pass out, I'm just gonna give you a good old smack.
Thank you.
I don't know how to respond to that, but okay.
All right. Cool. I just wanted consent. Ready to move forward with this?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. So from what I remember, there's an opening on the left-hand side of the hallway, kind of up,
Mm-hmm.
and that goes into the room that Mafak was in.
Mm-hmm.
Last time,
Well, you should lead. You remember it. We'll just follow you.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to give you guys
Well-
information in case it's useful.
I was also thinking we might be able to flush him out with a bat swarm or something.
No, bat swarm.
Do you have a bat swarm?
I
Is that a
can
thing
make
you can
one.
do?
I can make one now.
Oh. Okay.
Do you, like, summon the bats, or do you, like, make the bats?
You have a bag of bats?
I magically summon them.
Makes sense.
This would be a really good. I've been listening to Dungeons and Daddies, and this would be a really good time for their hat of merman that they have.
Yes.
You could just create bats.
Yeah. Or the little brown bag or the little gray bag where you, like, pull out a fluff ball and throw it on the ground and it turns into some kind of animal. Those are good magic items too. Mm-hmm. All right, so what is your marching order down this hallway? Is anybody preparing anything?
I'm preparing to
There
die.
anything. Yeah. I'm going first.
Okay.
But not preparing
Okay.
anything. Just preparing to hit
So like that
any
other
other
entrance
dwarves
was sort of up, right?
Hmm?
Wasn't it sort of a window that was up?
Yes, so there was like a 10-foot kind of like wall
Yeah.
space thing that.
So I
Cedric
guess
had
I can
clambered
sort of
over.
peek in there and see.
Okay, so
once
does
we
that
get
mean
there.
you're going ahead of Cedric?
No, don't
I'm
do that.
just-
Nope.
No,
Nope,
Cedric
nope.
is going first. Cedric
Okay.
is
You should-
insisting on going first.
I'm going first, and I don't think you should fly in this hallway because this is my gut just telling me this. If you're flying and you fall asleep, it might end badly.
Okay,
Puka!
that's valid.
Ben!
Cedric, you're not preparing your best one-liner for when you see him again?
Taking suggestions
Hookah.
now.
All right, so you are
Okay.
heading down the hallway now.
Mhm.
Okay, so
Slowly, carefully, trying to be relatively quiet, looking for, because last time I saw light coming from that opening, looking for that again.
yeah. Okay. So if you're going slowly and carefully and quietly, question mark. Yeah. Okay. So
Can we
stealth.
ever do anything quietly?
You try sometimes. Stealth checks
Yeah.
from everybody. And while they're rolling, Fletcher, are you doing anything interesting in the room where you're hanging out?
No, I think I'm pretty much chilling until I hear anything. Although I think I walked back and was standing there for a little bit, and then I remembered that bridge, and I was like, "Oh, I guess I could have gone down there and pointed out where I remembered stuff." And then I thought about it another second, and I was like, "I'm gonna stay here."
Chilling
Like,
for the
thinking,
villain.
I wonder if they all dumped into the river.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Well,
I'm
he
doing
didn't
the
hear any more screaming, so
yeah, exactly. But I'm giving it if there's nothing, I'm giving it the 15-minute college lecture rule where it's oh well, if the professor doesn't show up in 15 minutes, we all can leave. So I'm just okay,
Hookah.
I'm giving this 15 minutes and then I'm out.
Yeah. If my friends
Hookah.
aren't back in 15 minutes, I'm going home.
If I hear nothing happening,
I'll assume they're all
either
dead.
I'll just assume they all died somehow and leave.
So is this a move silently check? Is that what we're doing?
No, we've combined move silently and hide into just stealth.
I got a 24.
Okay.
Do I have?
I got a 13.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
20, what? 21?
24.
24, 13.
Mhm.
Cedric in your non-clanky armor.
Nat 20.
Nat 20. Okay. So the first person in line is pretty quiet. Kay, were you second or were you last? I don't remember what you guys said. Or did you
Probably
not
right
decide?
behind Cedric.
Okay.
Yeah, probably.
So the first two are being pretty quiet. Nadia's bringing up the rear. All right, so you think you're being pretty stealthy. Can I also have will saves as you pass by this lichen as the walls of this tunnel narrow? And Cedric, I had given you a plus something to it last time. I think it had been a +2 or something to the will save.
And that would make it a 28.
Oh, geez. Okay, you're very awake.
I got a 4.
Burning all of these dice. All of them. That's
Very
12.
stealthy.
12.
But also very sleepy.
Leading the way.
Yeah, Cedric, you're
I
being
rolled a 4, a 5, and a 5 so far.
Yeah. Cedric, you are being super duper stealthy and also stealing your mind against the effect of the sleep moss. You are on a freaking mission, and then very softly behind you, you hear one thump and then a slightly smaller thump.
I slowly turn around, just sigh.
This is what happens when you bring the gringos to your cave.
Yeah. You above grounders. All right, I guess I'm gonna walk over to Kay and just kind of smack her in the face,
Okay.
and then go over to Nautia and do the same thing.
Okay.
A little just a little pat, 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 pat.
Sorry,
Alright.
Cedric.
So yes, slapping them. You have to hit them pretty hard, almost enough to take a point of damage, but that will wake them up, yes.
All right.
So you two wake up on the floor.
You wake up to
Thanks for-
Cedric's face in your face, being in case you're a little disoriented when you wake up. Shh. And then he just shakes his head at you, just
Fair. It's fair.
All right.
We
So
should
you're-
take this stuff though, because we could sell it in New Sagechester as a sleep aid. Just saying. Right? Am I right?
What's that stuff called? Lunesta?
Oh my
Lunesta
god.
Arda?
Oh no. All right. So are you continuing from this point?
Do we see any light coming from that opening?
Give me a
Up ahead.
perception check.
All of us? Or just...
Whoever's looking for the light. I think Cedric's the only one who knew, Well, I guess Nautia also saw, like, I guess
Yeah.
all of you were there. I don't know if Kay was thinking when she was in that area to think about, like, how you were related to where you
It's
are
a
now.
23 for me.
Probably not.
23.
17.
17. Neither of you sees any light in any part of the corridor as you keep moving.
Okay.
Okay. This is as far as I went. I climbed up there. So I think I'm going to do that again. Actually, you know what? I'm going to Nautia.
Take
Look.
a little peek. Mm-hmm.
Do that.
Yeah.
Way.
All right, so you're gonna
Silent gestures, yes.
Silent gestures.
scout ahead as their little drone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you make it to where this little opening on the left is, and you sort of hover up above the wall that Cedric had climbed before and look into that space. Can you give me another perception check?
Mm-hmm. That's 25.
Okay. So you look into that space, and the first thing you'll see as you're sort of like, looking in is where that blue square is. There's still a 10-foot pit in this room because it isn't something that goes away after a certain amount of time or whatever. He made a 10-foot pit, and there it be. Beyond the 10-foot pit, you still see some like boxes and canvases and tubs and other things that had been in there before. But that's all you see.
Okay. So I'll fly back down and sort of communicate back, like, I don't see him.
Like, no dwarf.
No. Mm-mm.
Maybe we should learn the sign language of Arda.
Yeah. All right. I guess we'll just like keep going down this hallway then.
There was also another hallway off the main, where the bridge was.
Yeah, I feel like we should explore this one first.
I
Okay.
was asleep. I have no opinion, I guess. I'm gonna follow y'all.
She has no memory of this place.
I have no memory beyond this spot right here.
Mhm. Yeah, you may have remembered that Fletcher.
Yeah, I
ran
know
around
there's
the
like
backside.
yeah,
Yeah,
but I never saw it.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, looks like there's kind of an opening up ahead if we just continue down this hallway.
Yeah, I guess.
Like we're having this conversation in
Mhm.
whispered
Yeah,
tones, right?
yeah.
So
Could you move your figures up to where you want to
Oh.
be situated in the hallway? Just so I can keep track. Thank you.
That does not make me feel good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep going this way.
I think I'm actually gonna take the rear and just keep an eye out behind us in case he's trying to sneak up behind.
Cool. All right. So Cedric, as you continue to move past where that little wall and window was, you get to a T intersection, so you could continue left or right. And as you've moved up towards this T intersection, you've gone up a little bit of an incline.
Okay. I look to the left, and I know it looks like there's an opening up ahead that loops back into Mafok's room where we had that fight. I can see that.
Yeah.
Pretty
So
much
you
from
can
where I am,
see
right?
that, like, it goes, like, there's, like, a straight line to the left, and then there's an offshoot on the left of that hallway that you imagine would loop back into that room where you were. And then to your right, you guys can see really far, so I'll open up more of this. Okay, so you can see to your right, you would kind of like take a step, and then there's another split, kind of a Y with one wide arm and one narrow arm.
Okay.
Do you think we should look for him, or do you think we should just destroy his stuff? Or...
I think we should look for him before we start smashing stuff and making a lot of noise.
That makes sense, actually, now that you mention it like that.
Nautia, you stay here, guard this intersection.
Oh,
I'm just gonna
okay.
go check that right hand, that curve up ahead.
Okay.
Try not to abandon us this time.
I'll do my best. Try not to fall asleep.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, am I like within range of any of the moss right now? Am I feeling that effect?
You dealt with it, so you'll be safe from it for a while. If you guys hang out
Okay.
in areas where it is for long enough, you'll have to save again, but I'll let you know. All right, so you are moving to the left down towards where you thought it might connect to his room.
Yeah.
Okay, so you do that, and you come to that little sort of left-hand doorway, and you can now, in fact, see into the room that you were in before. With all the stuff in it.
That's traumatic. Pretty sure I died like right there.
Oh, also the walls and the floor in this part of the tunnel are charred.
I was gonna ask.
I forgot. Yeah, he lit it on fire.
Yeah, that whole like little intersection, 10-foot square,
Mm-hmm.
would be charred.
Fletcher tracks.
Fletcher tracks.
Do I see anything to the up of where I am, to the right?
Oh, yeah, so there is a right-hand doorway kind of across, or hallway, across from that, and you can look up it and see that it, again, it looks like it might be kind of naturally eroded, but then there's a bit that looks like it was intentionally cut out, like another hallway to the right, a little ways in.
Okay.
More map. More map.
All right, I don't want to go down this hallway by myself.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna kind of like gesture for both of the girls to come meet me, and then continue leading the way down this hallway, like looking for signs that Mafak has been here recently, or traps. Now that we know he's into the traps. I want to.
Yeah, before we go down a new hallway, can I check for traps?
Yeah, go for it. Give me a search check. Cedric, if you also wanted to be looking for stonework traps, you can give me a search check as well.
I do.
11.
Is this something I could use my stone cunning for?
I believe that's part of what it says, right? That you are allowed to look for stonework traps.
So this is a search check plus my stone cunning? Is that how it works?
Yes.
Okay.
What did you
That
say,
is
K11?
Yeah,
Okay.
11.
22.
22. Neither of you see any traps in this little hallway.
Okay.
So are you continuing on to that sort of like right-hand bit?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so you look in there and you see that it's another little carved out room, maybe, 10 by 20 feet-ish. Not anything in here, really. You can still, again, all along through here, faintly see little bits of sparkle or, not color, because you're all in dark vision right now, but different shades of, stone. So you can see that, like, there are still little bits of veins of whatever he was mining in these rooms and in these hallways, but there's no, like, intentionally placed objects in here or anything.
Okay. Excellent. Let's head back out. Keep exploring. This looks like just another dead-end, mined-out area.
Alright, where are you going now?
This way.
This way, to the right. Okay.
Can we look for traps?
Yes, you can.
Everybody just like runs down the hallway. God damn it.
I guess me too.
18.
18.
20.
20. Neither of you see any traps in this hallway either.
Right.
So as you move into that sort of Y to the right-hand side of the T intersection, you can again see that there's sort of this like long, thin bit that then sort of has like an end and then like a left, and this wide bit goes up for a bit and then has a right.
All right. I'm gonna step up into this side. into this area
Up
here.
into the wide right-hand bit. Yep. So you see that it looks like you could assume they connect around a little pillar of stone that he didn't excavate, and then it just sort of, tapers off. Maybe he was working on this section or something, but it doesn't continue.
Right. I'm gonna loop back around and then like kind of poke, so it's like I go down one hallway and then I come out the other hallway and I'm like, yeah, it's another dead end. And then you want to go? We should go back out and check that other passage, Nautia, that you pointed to earlier. Okay, let's head back out to the river and check that passageway.
So I'm standing guard, and so they're far away enough now that I would have stopped hearing like anything.
Oh yeah, especially because they're on the other side of the waterfall.
Yeah, and I've left myself with very little light. Also, having closed the lantern way down and probably like pointed the open part towards a wall, so there's very little light. Is there anything I could do? Like, I don't know if it's just like once in a while, rolling perception, because I'd basically just be using hearing right now and trying to see if I hear anything out of the ordinary. So I don't know if that would just be passive perception this whole time, or if I could like
if that's
be rolling. If
if that was a thing that you were sort of like, okay, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna listen and wait for anything weird coming, that you can roll for that. That's fine.
Okay. It's a 20.
Okay. So you've been sitting in this very low light, just sort of hearing mostly the sound of your breathing and just waiting for other sounds of your friends, sounds of combat, sounds of footsteps even, and you don't hear anything. It's very uncomfortably quiet in this part of the mine where you're sitting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to just be aware of like anything out of the ordinary, whether it's from in the mine or like hearing the door above the ladder like quietly lift or like anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys had tied something. What did you tied something at the top of the ladder, or you tied the door closed or something?
We strung a net.
Across it. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah. Okay, so you're listening for any of that kind of stuff. Good to know. But you don't hear anything up until this point. All right, so you all have made it back out onto the big, like, eroded platform ledge thing. What are you doing now?
Headed down that other passageway down to the south.
Okay. Still stealthily?
Yes.
Okay, another stealth check. And are you going in the same order that you did before?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a 13.
15?
26.
13, 15, 26. Okay, cool. You do also see the faint blue glow coming out of this hallway. But I will reveal, you can see some of it. Oops. There you go. So are you heading in?
Yes, continuing down this hallway.
Can I have another will save from everybody against the miss, the lichen, whatever it is?
16?
16?
Yeah.
Nice.
15.
Nice.
Also 15.
Okay, nobody falls asleep this time. You've conquered the lichen.
Good job, you guys.
Yeah. All right. And Cedric starts moving, and you see that this little naturally eroded bit just sort of ends eventually at, probably some harder stone or different material kind of thing, or, the water doesn't get much higher past this point, but...
Okay. So at this point, I'm going to turn around and be like, I think this is it. Like, at normal volume. I don't think he's here.
All right, well, let's go destroy his stuff then.
Yeah, how do we want to... I guess we can just head back up there. Do we want to just, like... How? You want to break down the tunnel?
Yeah. I mean, unless he just happens to be back down the hallways of the first part of the cave where Fletcher is by himself.
Maybe we should get back to Fletcher just to be.
Maybe Nautia, you go warn Fletcher, since
Yeah.
Kay and I might not be able to get across the rock pile. Maybe you go quickly.
Yeah, I'll go real quick and just let him know. Yeah, so I'll do that, and I'll fly back down and very quietly.
Fletcher, can I have another perception check?
$18.
Okay. So after a little while longer of waiting, you eventually hear wing beats in the tunnel coming towards you.
Okay.
They should be fairly familiar sounding wing beats, I think.
I mean,
yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know what your wings sound like compared to a feathered wing, but sure.
Yeah, I have no idea what they would sound like.
Not accompanied with any prior sounds or current sounds of shouting and fighting. I assume it's not him.
Yeah. So I'll kind of, psst. Fletcher, we haven't seen him. So either he's not here or he's at this end.
Well, I haven't heard anything down here either. So if he's down here, he's just sitting somewhere extremely quietly.
Yeah. So when we looked in those other sort of rooms along this hallway, did we see continuing tunnel or did it stop?
Oh, you mean all of the little rooms and offshoots
little
on
rooms
this
off
first
that
long
corridor.
tunnel?
Yeah.
No, none of them seem to continue. You found dead ends at all of them. There is the one that has Wallace in it, but other than that, they're all empty.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess.
Did you see anything that seemed like he was here?
No, his little camp place was dark. I don't think it looked like he maybe he hasn't been back. Maybe he ran off somewhere else.
He may have. We know these things were getting delivered, taken by somebody. He had somewhere else. Definitely. He may just not have come back.
Yeah. So now how do we make this not work for him anymore?
I guess that's where we can spend time figuring out now.
Okay.
Is everybody still
They're still down on
there?
the other end of that rock fall. Yeah.
Well, I'll come out. I mean, well, let's go back out to them then.
Okay.
Beat on either side of the rock fall.
Yeah, so if you could anchor a rope on one side and I could anchor on the other, it could help them get across maybe.
Initially I was gonna come out to you can step out and you're in the room before you try to go down that rubble. And I was gonna just kind of stop there till we figure out what we're doing.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we can head back to the rockfall and sort of gesture for the others.
All right. Yeah, I think Cedric and Kay, I guess, are gonna be hanging out. Just on. It's like a 10-foot section of rock, right?
Yeah, it's not huge.
We can kind of yell across it, be like, "We don't. Yeah, there's no sign of him down this way."
I didn't hear anything down here. That no changes, anything at all. I think he's either not here or he has some kind of hiding space in here that we didn't find.
I didn't see any sign of that.
Let's go destroy his stuff.
Kay really wants to destroy his stuff.
Well, how do we? That's part. Well, we have to figure out how he's creating this problem in the water, and I think part of it is those barrels of stuff he was using. But we know the water is currently bad in here as well. So I'm not sure if there's something we could do to stop the production of this pollution immediately or not. So I guess that's really our current dilemma. We know if he doesn't come back, it will stop eventually, but is there a way we can speed it up?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'll go back and check on what he's got, see if I can tell anything from what kind of materials he's been using.
Because it was some kind of acid, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Kay, you want to come with me? You can smash some stuff while I look at some stuff.
Yes, that sounds great. We can smash stuff.
You guys want to double check that he's not on your side of the rock pile, or maybe hook up a rope or something while we're doing that?
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can double check, look around.
I can peek into the rooms and check each one if you'll just back me up.
I could do that.
Okay.
All right, which team wants to go first?
Us.
Okay.
Stuff smashing. I can
Stuff
tell Kay is
team stuff
really excited.
smashing. Okay.
This is gonna be like
Team
Cedric
four.
looking at a thing, setting it down, and Kate just like smashes it. Look at a thing, set it down, smash.
Yeah.
Like
I'm just handing it to her, and
New
she's just like-
groove. When Kronk is like putting down the head statues.
Yes.
that's exactly what I was thinking of. I'll put
There's
that box
even a
inside of
pit.
another box, and I'll put that box inside of another box, and then I'll mail that box to myself. And when
And
it
then
arrives, I'll smash it with a hammer.
hammer.
Exactly what I was picturing.
All right, team smash stuff. So you are you're going back to the little campsite room with all the stuff in it
with the big pit.
with the big pit. I'm assuming you might be going in not the pit way, but the other way.
Yes.
Okay.
You don't want to try and
Okay.
climb over a 10-foot pit because
Cool.
we'd probably both die.
Okay. So you make it back into that room, and now that you're in here, you can get a better look at it. I don't know how much either of you will remember about the details of the room from the last time you were in there.
I mean, I don't think Kay will remember any details, considering the fact that she was asleep and then just dropped.
Yeah, totally. But Cedric, you got a good look at it while you were having tea, before, you know.
Yeah.
So the big wooden tubs are still there, and there are still some like tarps and a few small crates, but it looks a little emptier than before. You wonder if maybe some stuff has been taken. Also, the tubs appear to be empty. But if you guys would like more information about what's in the room, you can give me search checks.
I would like more information about what's in the rooms.
You got a 24.
8.
Does what?
I was trying to think. I was like, would Cedric remember that like the best sign of if Mafok is around or not is probably his little skull friend who
Oh.
he takes with him. So it's like, if that were still in the room, you'd expect that he's been here and is coming back. But if you don't find that anywhere, but I don't know if that's a detail Cedric would remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like I heard all that going. Like I'm probably the only person who really has the best recollection of anything that happened.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because Cedric's is all fuzzy. Yeah. Cedric, with your 8, you find sort of roughly carved into the stone floor, sort of where the little like fire ring where he'd been heating his tea kettle was roughly scrawled into the floor. Symbol of Moradin, but it has been heavily defaced. K, the tubs that the group told you had contained acid are now empty, but there is some writing in a language that you saw in one of those books that you all got from the Rainforest Temple in the bottom of some of them, but you don't read it. And then you also find, if you start opening up crates, you find some stuff, some shinies.
Yes, the shinies. So
Yeah.
finding the shiny things.
Check for traps. Don't
All
forget
right.
to check for traps, Kay.
That was the search check.
You were searching for stuff, not for traps. Okay. So in the crates, Kay, you find some pieces of a milky bright green stone with subtle white venations. You find rocks with some plain-looking exteriors that all have one cut end, and the cut end shows concentric rings of different shades of pink. You find some rough, squarish, or rectangular crystals of a kind of interesting purple-brown color. You find quite a lot of a rough rock matrix with some rectangular off-white crystals. You find some chunks of, looks like ore, that's kind of dull silvery in color. And then you find some of what Cedric had identified for you all back at the very beginning of your first time in this mine, what he called galena. So it's the ore that you can refine lead from, so it's kind of a squarish, like, iridescent-y matrix.
Cedric, I found some stuff with some writing and some crazy rocks, and she just
Don't
like
touch
holds
those
up,
square
like,
ones.
Fistful of rocks, and then she immediately drops into square ones and holds up the other one.
It's like, yeah. I mean, it's fine. Just like wash your hands. Don't put your hands in your mouth for a little bit
Wash
after
your hands before
this.
you eat.
Yeah.
I guess she takes some of water from her water jug and is wipes it off on her shirt.
Yeah. I'm sure that's fine. All right. I want to look in these crates at this writing that Kay mentioned.
In the tubs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in one of the tubs, Cedric, you just find some very rude words written in Dwarven.
You're not going to tell me what rude words they are?
I was going to let you improv yourself, and instead you immediately went for the, oh no, she's put me on the spot. Thanks for that. And in the bottom of the other one that has writing in Dwarven, it says, I'll be seeing you.
Okay. Are the rude words, is it just a series of rude words, or is it like,
I mean,
screw
it
you
looks like it's
guys?
intended for you, yeah.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Or, well, your friends, since he knew you were dead, but yeah.
Yeah, man, it's great that he wrote you guys a message in Dwarvish, which none of you can read.
He doesn't know that.
What a moron.
Is he that much of a moron? He managed to take us all down, so I'm gonna.
There were extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, did he manage to take you all down, or did somebody not wake you up?
Yeah. Some lichen managed to take two of you down,
Yeah.
so.
I've gotten
Which-
better against the lichen.
Which Ryan wanted to... Oh, God. Sorry, I have to... New desk configuration. Ryan wanted to talk about the sleep moss, or lichen, or whatever this is. It was called sleep moss in the entry where I found it, but, you know, lichens are complicated. So what do you think it is that, affects you or makes you fall asleep, since a lichen is a combination of a fungus and an algae working together?
I can't remember if we talked about this last time, or I'm
so.
sure we've talked about
We
lichens
were otherwise
before.
occupied.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about lichen before, because we talked about fungal stuff with Gary, but we did not talk about the
Okay.
sleep moss before, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was just like, when you were starting to say it was a lichen, I was like, well, what's putting you to sleep? Like, is it something from the fungus or something from the algae? Because we know they both produce lots of things. Yeah.
It's interesting. Are there lichen? So I always kind of assume that the algae and lichen, and I'm sure there's exceptions to this, but so the algae and lichen is photosynthetic, right? It's producing sugars from photosynthesis. So are there lichens that grow in places where there is no sunlight? Because then what is the point of the algae, I guess? Like, is it doing something in addition to... I mean, I'm sure it's doing stuff in addition That's my whole thought. I don't know of any, but I'm curious.
Well, so plants don't have to have sunlight in order to photosynthesize. They just have to have light, right?
True.
So you
true.
just need photons to excite the chemical pathway. So underground, where dwarves are working, there could still be torches or, campfires or whatever. So maybe the algae doesn't get light often, but there is still the possibility for it to receive light other than what the lichen is sort of bioluminescing itself.
So, okay, here's my thing. It's bioluminescent and also soporific, right? So to me, it's bioluminescent because it's attracting things that are attracted to light, like animals. Then it puts them to sleep, and maybe they die. So my hypothesis is that it's carnivorous. That it's feeding itself by being, attractive.
I mean, the fungus part is responsible for getting like minerals and other nutrients that can't be synthesized by just sunlight, kind of like the root system. So,
and could it just be like an anti-herbivory type protection that like put things to sleep before they get to you to eat you? And that way, the fungus, they could be, like Nancy said, degrading the rocks and the minerals and there are some lichens that have associations with like non-photosynthetic bacteria as well.
mm-hmm.
So if that's involved, they could be providing the algae like what the algae needs to survive, even if there wasn't a source of light, and the algae could then still provide back, the nitrogenous waste or, whatever it provides to the relationship. So it could, in this world, it could be like a lichen that's evolved. This association has taken place to happen without any source of light.
And don't forget that there might be more than just naturally selective pressures on this organism, since it's used by dwarves as a tool in mines. Perhaps some of the functionality has been sort of emphasized by dwarves picking specific strains of it to, propagate.
Selecting for brighter and brighter mosses.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So there are lots of bioluminescent and phosphorescent organisms in our world. Has anybody ever done any selective breeding for brighter? Like, I've never heard of anybody, there's a lot of research in like fluorescence and things like that, but like I've never heard of anybody like breeding brighter bioluminescent diatoms or something like that. Like,
I mean, if
it
we
seems
haven't
like
had
something
any
that might
use
be.
Sorry.
Yeah, it seems like it would be done just purely for research purposes.
Yeah.
I can't think of a whole lot of practical.
With those light bulbs and fires and stuff.
Yeah. It'd be cool.
I mean, it would
Like
still be
those- I mean,
interesting for looking at the like evolutionary pressure on those kinds of traits and seeing how does that, if you did that and then compared it to a like normal, the like wild type illuminance level, like do you have an advantage or a disadvantage because you're brighter, and see like what kind of pressures actually select for the different like illuminance levels that each organism may have. So it could still be like an interesting system to apply to those kinds of like evolutionary questions though.
And don't forget...
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, don't forget the tourism angle. You were saying that maybe there wasn't a reason to select for, as you suggested, brighter diatoms, but like people love surfing on those parts of the ocean where the diatoms glow when they're disturbed, right? So like you could conceivably own like a resort where you put those things in a pool and you want really bright ones so that, your guests can swim in the pool at night and glow because Instagram.
Yeah. Well, and bioluminescence, especially like the genes that cause it, are definitely used in a lot of genetic research just as a sort of easy marker. So it's not necessarily specifically for the bioluminescence, but it's a nice, easy way to see that something else is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole like luciferase,
Yeah.
is used in so many things, and it's such a common thing used in so many organisms. It would be interesting too, breeding for like, things that may be brighter and brighter. A lot of times those systems are really energetically costly to keep that up. Whether you're doing it yourself or you have like symbionts that you're providing to who make the bioluminescence. It's like that would be an interesting evolutionary, selective pressure that like, oh, you could get brighter and brighter, but then eventually past like a tipping point, it's like really detrimental to you and you don't have enough energy to get anything else done. So it'd be like really interesting constraints that way. That's like could constrain, the like host may have to constrain the bioluminescent organism they have that makes the light to because otherwise it affects their fitness depending on how much they have to provide to get the light that they need. Like it's an interesting, that'd be an interesting system.
Yeah, I like that. Any other thoughts on the sleep moss?
I mean, you specifically asked like what could be putting you to sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us mentioned like. Do lichens produce like spores? Like how do
Some of them do. Some of them have like a kind of like mushroom-like shape when they go into the reproductive stage. In the video that I did on Turf Wars with Sheryl, I actually found some that was in that stage and had like small little mushroom cuppy things.
Nancy is a lichen expert now.
I mean, I wouldn't quite go that far, but I did have to learn a lot.
Still no Brian Lovett.
Video.
No.
But it's interesting because like if those spores, there's like some fungi in those relationships, like some of those relationships are tighter than others. So you could have the mushroom without algae or with it, but there are some that are tight relationships that it produces those like mushrooms and can produce a spore, and then those spores go out and those fungi have to match up with the right algae that they need to associate with to create more. So it's like their sexual reproduction is like way more risky than like just multiplying yourself and just like growing on a surface and like making like continuing a colony. That's why like just like that chance, it's so that's why I think like just so crazy, just like the chance encounter to like find the thing that you need to have the right relationship with the balance you need to survive is like it's no wonder that like lichens that we like are still like lichens. They're like kind of an organism, but we know there are lots of different things together, and so they're hard to classify. Like, do you classify based on the fungi or the combination of the two and all the different combinations that they can have? And like,
What's even crazier is there's like
crazy.
parasitic fungus on those relationships.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like, not only do you like, can you imagine being the parasitic fungus and all of that? Like, what the hell?
A third wheel.
And like, lichens are amazing. Like,
Yes.
6 to 8% of the Earth's surface. So like, obviously, it's working for them, despite seeming like it shouldn't.
But like working together, they can get into so many habitats that neither one of them could do on their own. So it's like it makes sense they can go like so many different places. There's like even in like the most polluted cities and stuff, there's like a species of lichen around North America that like even in those worst of most polluted cities, that lichen is around. Like they can actually handle that. I remember, totally tangential, but there was a lichen exhibit at the Field Museum one time when I was back home in Chicago, and it was like the guy there who studies lichens also like keeps lichens, and so it was set up with his tanks of like the lichens he had collected, and it was like so cool seeing all the things about them and just how neat and like really understudied they are as a model for like so many different things. It's like they're basically like doing the sorts of thing that was kind of originally happening for our like eukaryotic cells to form, like multiple cells associating with each other and becoming one. It's like lichens are kind of doing that. So it could be like in a long evolutionary time, lichens could be like the next like higher organism that evolves on the planet.
In the Paramo here, on like the really high Paramo, like 14,000 feet, on the cliff sides on the mountains, there's this really beautiful orange lichen, and there's so much of it. Like the sides of the mountains just look orange from the highway. It's like really beautiful.
With the American Southwest, there's like a fluorescent green one that's everywhere. That's so cool looking. Like it looks like safety spray paint. It's so bizarrely green.
Ryan said something that made me think, since your question was about like what part of this lichen makes you fall asleep. So you said that their sexual reproduction can be really risky. So what if the risk, especially trying to like sexually reproduce in mines or like in the deep underground, was so risky that the spores were sort of reassigned job-wise in the organism, and so instead of being for reproduction, they now have this other job, which is to incapacitate. I liked what you said earlier about like incapacitate herbivores so they don't bug or destroy the lichen. So instead, maybe it just spreads out in mats and reproduces in some other less risky way.
But especially if it's evolved to quote unquote to be propagated, artificially, then it could have like sacrificed its ability to maybe like a French bulldog. It's like no longer has the ability to naturally reproduce, and so it's not constrained by natural reproductive limitations, but and can become even more specialized.
Now I'm sad.
I figured it would just like reproduce asexually, Like
it would just so it would just grow from then on. Like it's like and like Sheryl said, reassign the function that it's like we don't need that anymore. It would have developed, perhaps led to a different selected for a different function of creating the spores.
And I mean, we've all been talking about it, but I think there are maybe, if people don't know, that one thing that plants have done many times over is create specialized chemicals and ways to deter herbivores, whether that's things that taste bad or specialized chemicals like nicotine or caffeine, which are both created to discourage things from eating them.
Or capsaicin.
Or capsaicin,
Or literally all the cannabinoids and terpenes that I work with in cannabis. They're all plant protective compounds.
There's also like more boring mechanisms by just turning your leaves into thorns or hairs. Or in the case of the stinging nettle, you just decided both was good.
Yeah, why not both, right?
Why not both?
Classic meme.
That time.
Yeah.
So sleep moss. We've come up with some potential scientific explanations for how it works, how it do.
Or maybe now we're all infected with sleep moss spores, and when we die someday, our bodies will...
No, that's a different D&D fungal monster. Anyway.
That's next session.
I like the yellow fungus creeper. Something like that. Anyway.
If you touch it and then wipe someone's face with it while they fall asleep.
I mean, you could try it.
Can we weaponize the cave moss? I think, we're going to market it. We're going to farm. I'm going to teaching all of Kay's friends how to farm mushrooms anyways.
Oh my god.
How hard I could teach them how to farm this cave moss.
I forgot
we could sell it. We could sell it as a sleep aid in New Saychester. All of these people experiencing city life for the first time. It's so noisy. We all know how bad people sleep in cities.
Well, why don't you put some in a jar then?
I don't have any jars. Hey, Fletcher.
I guess we're back in character.
You're very far away.
Yeah.
You can't call for me.
You know, if you had drank any one of those 100 health potions that were on you, you would have one empty flask.
Oh, that is true. But yeah, Kay, you have these handfuls of rocks that you found.
What are these?
Do I know what they are?
Give me a know what they are for rocks check. Appraise? Is that what you use?
I think appraise, and I can add my stone cutting to that.
Yes.
Oof. That's a 5. 3 + 2.
You're feeling the like distraction and trauma of being in this room, and you, for some reason, uncharacteristically don't want to focus on rocks right now. However,
like smashing up this like anti-Moradin graffiti. Yeah. Just like, I don't know, there's some rocks, okay? Deal with it.
I guess I just put them in my backpack.
Okay.
I've been a collector of rocks. I have that weird, like, fossil-y one, too.
Oh, yeah, you do. So I guess we won't talk about what they are right now since he didn't figure it out. But I would just like to say
3 minutes describing exactly what they look like.
yes. Well, that's the
I
thing.
don't know, rocks.
So because I'm always asked what kind of rocks our place is, and because this is supposed to be educational, ostensibly. So when I designed the mine and the pollution storyline, I wanted it all to, like, make real-world sense, and so everything that you've found that Mafak was extracting from this mine makes sense to go together in the real world. So the galena and the silver and all of these other minerals that have yet to be identified that Kay has, all of the, like, gems or crystals, all of them are things that you could conceivably find in the same place. And the galena is most important because it's a lead sulfide mineral, and so it can just react with water to create some of the lead compounds that you found that were messing up the river, but then also, since Mafak was using acid to extract either the lead or the silver from the ores, that was also creating problems in the river. So all of this makes actual real-world geological sense together, which I was very invested in. So all the rocks make sense.
I'm sorry that Cedric is...
It's okay. You'll just have to go back to the cute
graffiti in
dwarven
character.
jeweler in town, and she can tell you what they are.
Perfect. We can find a competent dwarf.
Ooh!
Not all dwarfs are competent in all things underground, Kay. There's areas of expertise, all right? I just don't happen to be one of those shiny rock dwarves, all right?
What were you then? What was your job?
I'm a priest of Moradin.
That's it? Do
Maybe
they pay you for that?
Yes, normally. Are you asking for my CV? Is that what you're asking for?
Sorry, I didn't
You would
mean
think
to make
before
you
you
so
allowed-
I'm so mad about it. I'm sorry. Okay, touchy
Sorry, wait.
subject.
How many different jobs have you had?
I mean, I work at the
Stealing
general
stuff?
store.
Is thief a job? Do they pay you for that?
Yeah, technically, because I steal the stuff and then I sell it and make money off of it. So yes, technically.
I mean, normally I'm paid through tithes to the church, so...
So you steal from the church then?
No, I'm paid by the church.
So then you steal from the community?
No, the community
Oh, dear.
donates money to me. That's how tithes work. It's a voluntary thing. They get a tax break.
Uh-huh. So you, like, convince some people to give up their hard-earned money to talk to some invisible guy in the sky who probably doesn't.
He exists.
And then you take that money and you don't give it to the god either.
No, I use it to live. What would Moradin do with a bunch of money? He doesn't
Anyway,
need money.
yeah, exactly. So why
What do you want us to do?
taking money
Make a
from
big,
people?
like, gold temple with it or something like that? No, that would be a big waste.
I mean, so people basically pay you to talk about an invisible man in the sky.
Sure. I mean, he's not always invisible, but, I mean, historically. But yeah, more or less.
I don't see how that's different than what I did, but that's okay. I also worked for the general store for my parents, after I got adopted off the street. And so I do a lot of things for them and, like, actually make money because I transport things and help
Oh, you're
people get the
producing money?
supplies they need.
You're actually producing money, or are you just profiting off of the labor of other people
I mean,
by
my
being a
parents
middleman?
My parents aren't the middleman. Sometimes they make stuff and they get stuff that's far away. And then I bring it to the people in the town and then my parents feed me.
Sounds like a good system that works. Hooray, capitalism.
Enthralling as this economic conversation is.
Meanwhile, at the other end,
Yeah,
Fletcher and Nautia are being
yes, that.
extremely quiet.
that. First of all, speaking of economics, thank you for the gift sub, and also thank you for the anonymous cheer. A hype train is close. If anybody else wanted to cheer, we could have a hype train, which would be cool. But yes, Fletcher and Nautia, let's move on to what you're doing.
Sorry, team.
It's fine. I just.
I like, with like most Twitch streamers where there's like a specific thing they do when somebody does like a gift sub, and ours is an argument about economics and religion, I guess. You're welcome.
No, I
This is
just-
what
And
you
the
want.
economics of
Pay your
religion,
tithes to us instead
apparently.
of the Church of Morden.
And you're doing this while you're just smashing things.
Yes.
You're having a conversation
Yeah.
about
What better
religion and
time?
capitalism.
Yeah.
To
So,
talk about destroying capitalism than literally
So-
destroying it.
So like Fletcher and Nautia are like extremely quietly like creeping down this
Yes.
hallway while the sounds of first like things breaking and
Yes.
then voices weirdly
Yeah.
getting louder just creep up behind us.
Well, you're on the other side of the waterfall, so like it's not like you can hear them like
Oh
a
yeah,
lot,
I guess
but
it's a little.
you're
Yeah,
aware.
thank
It's
God
the
for
point
the
at which I
waterfall.
realize I can hear them, and
Yes.
it's like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, when you like start hearing a little bit over the waterfall, and you're like, is that actually them? Like you're trying to figure out. You're like, are they being louder than the waterfall right now? Like,
We
this
were
really
in a heated
happening?
discussion.
Either that or
I'm trying
Mafak
to
was
tell, is,
disguised
like-
as a crate or something, but what?
Is
Yeah.
this like distress yelling or like no, that's bickering yelling. Right?
bickering.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mhm.
With the two of them alone, 90% of the time bickering.
True. That is yeah.
Remember
Well,
how
Nautia, I'll follow you, into whatever room.
Yeah. So basically I'm just gonna sort of peek into each of these rooms, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you guys had kind of cleared them before, but yeah, you can go back through and check each one.
Yeah. Well, just making sure like we cleared them, basically a week ago.
Oh no, I thought you had re-cleared them. the
Oh, I
last
guess
time you
they
came
did.
through.
They did look through them
Yeah.
when we came in, didn't they? Okay. Yeah, just one more
Don't
pass.
forget
I
the
guess.
magical door with the black rocky things around it.
Which one's that?
There is
Wasn't
a magical-
right here. Oops, sorry, hold on. Right here, there is a door. It's the only door in this place other than the wooden, trap door that leads into the mine at the stairway. But this right here is a big metal door with some black stones in it.
Okay.
And we never opened.
You opened it and there was nothing beyond it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when we came in the second time, I think it was just like I stopped at the beginning and you guys like
Mm-hmm.
might have glanced in the rooms as you went
Mhm.
by, but I don't think really looked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Give
Yeah,
me
I'll sort of
some-
stop at each doorway and do a perception check.
Sure. Give me several.
So are we
of
doing one
those.
per room?
Sure. Just roll me a whole
Alright.
bunch.
Let's just say working our way back down that hallway.
Mhm.
That's 15.
Okay. It's the empty room that you'd seen before.
All right, now I'll do the one across the hall from that. That's boy, I cannot math today. That's 24.
The empty room you'd seen before.
All right. This is the one that goes toward our mystery pool. That one is 26.
Nothing but Wallace.
All right.
He's still hanging out on the floor in there.
Excellent. I'm leaving him right where he is.
Uh-huh.
That one's only an 11.
The room that you saw before.
Great.
And then there's
And
the
this-
one that Fletcher had been standing in. So I hope Mafak's
Yeah.
not in that one.
We're pretty sure he wasn't in that one.
He was standing behind you the whole time, Fletcher.
Yeah, right. I kind of assumed, like, if he had the lantern pointing towards the wall, he did, take a quick look around the room.
You would think, yeah.
So, yeah, I guess we just wait.
It's in tight.
Yeah, he's not here, so I guess we need to go back by the waterfall and see what we can do about what's going
Yeah.
on. See, maybe wait for when those two come back from further in, see if they found anything that would tell us about what more we can do with the water and just make sure.
We can go down in the end hall and at least like look in where the waterfall is and.
Yeah.
While you are both here at this room where Fletcher had been camped out while you all were doing your initial reinvestigation, could both of you, sorry, Nadia, give me intelligence checks to remember something?
Yeah.
I prefaced it with sorry, Nadia.
Yep. It's a 12.
There are 2 rerolls available. Oh, thank you for the cheer. Yay. A 12 and...
I only got an 11 because I rolled real low, so I'd like to use a reroll.
Go for it.
Okay, that time it was a 16.
Okay. So as you're both like sitting here or standing here talking about like, you know, well, it hasn't been anywhere or whatever, you remember that this is the point in the hallway where you kind of had like stripped Mafak of his belongings and trussed him up and all of that, and the weapon and the armor are nowhere that you've seen.
Yeah, he came back and he cleared out.
So he's either... My guess is he ran probably only temporarily. He seems like somebody who would come back eventually to keep doing what he was doing to make money.
I would love to make this place no longer usable for him.
Yeah, we should probably try to shut down whatever we can over by the water, and then maybe when we get up top, see if there's a way to completely destroy that mine shaft he has built down here.
Yeah, let's spawn her back down to the waterfall. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll walk back out. So like I'll stop at the top of the collapsing rubble.
Mm-hmm.
I know Nautia can probably fly out.
Yeah. Kay and Cedric, were you smashing everything in that room, or what was the story on what was going to be left in there? I know Cedric was destroying the graffiti on the floor.
Sorry, it started thunderstorming and downpouring, so I had to close the door.
Yeah.
So, there were troughs.
Yeah.
Destroying those.
Okay.
Destroying the graffiti.
Okay.
That's pretty much it, right? That was.
Yeah. Other than that, it was like some crates and some tarps, but nothing else like especially
and
useful.
The barrels are still there though, right? There's just nothing in them.
Oh, the tubs with
the... Or were those the tubs?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Anything that... We're opening anything that could contain something and then smashing it if... Yeah. We're not going to smash anything that might contain something valuable.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you make lots of kindling, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Are you going back out to meet your companions in the waterfall room, or should Nautia come get you?
No, I think once we're done, we'll kind of... Hey, Kay, you want to just throw everything in the hole, just kind of for funsies?
Can we light it on fire?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, let's do that.
Okay. Let me see if I have any good ways to light things on fire. I wish I knew grease.
I think I have oil.
Well, I've got a flint and steel.
Fletcher for the lantern?
Did I give all of it to Fletcher? I gave him my lantern at least.
I feel like, I don't know, he has your lantern, and I know that you guys used oil to paint the troughs in the one temple, so I don't know if you actually have any oil.
I might not have any more left. Yeah.
Stuff doesn't really burn super great when it's down in a hole anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've been using candles.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think we really had oil.
You're making a bonfire?
No, I just think throw it in the hole.
Okay.
Fires underground are dangerous.
A little wisp of scope comes out.
Oh, I have a flint and steel.
Yeah.
Do that then.
All right.
Yeah, and then we'll head back out.
Cool. Okay, you trash his stuff, and you head back out. So now, I guess you guys are on, and you can also scoot back across the bridge without any issue. So now you guys are on either side of the rubble area. Fletcher on the uphill side, Kay and Cedric on the downhill side. Nautia.
I thought you guys were going to hook up a rope.
Wherever she wants to be.
No,
We
we were
can.
going to look from a fox.
Oh. Well, did you find him?
No. And it looks like the stuff that we left behind that was his, he took it.
So he definitely came back and cleared out.
What did you find?
Yeah, he wrote us a note. Or I guess technically he wrote you guys a note, but he wrote it in Dwarvish.
What did it say?
again? I forgot already.
It said, like, butts. Fuck you guys!
I thought you said something else about him possibly coming back. Something more important than butts.
Oh, yeah. He said that too. Like, I'll be seeing you kind of thing. It translates loosely. Like, I'll see you again, I'll be seeing you, kind of.
I really do not like him.
Yeah.
Well, let's at least try to make this place completely unusable.
I like the way you think.
And also stop making the water bad if we can. Because, like,
Do you
it's
think
still
we can
bad
light
down
the
here,
water on
right?
fire?
Sheryl, do I have any sense, having wandered around and looked through this whole, like, the second half of the mine pretty recently, are there any, like, promising veins of, like, galena or gemstones that I noticed that, like, would be worth coming back for? Or does this look like it's pretty tapped and he probably won't come back?
Some of those dead ends that you saw, it looked like he had just sort of not finished exploring them, so this is, as far as you could tell, a place that, like, he could conceivably be coming back to. He certainly left a lot of stuff down here.
There's still potential in this mine.
Yeah.
So I would come back if I was Mafok, I suppose.
Yes.
And, didn't mind poisoning the river and all of those things that, if I was a bad guy who was going to mine in a uncouth way.
And Kay found all of those crystals and semi-precious stones and silver ore and stuff, so, like, he didn't get all of it, even that he had already mined. He wasn't able to take all of it with him, it seems.
Okay, as far as the river poisoning goes, do we have any sense of, was he actively dumping stuff into the river? Why is the river still poisoned? Do we know?
Is it, like, if I fly down there, is the water still bad?
Yeah.
Okay, and can I tell where it's coming from?
Yeah, do the walls, like, so it's, like, set down where it's like the waterfall, it's going down, and the river is set down below.
Yeah.
This discolored water that, solution that we see mixed with the water that ends up in the river, is that, like, on the walls? Like, we can tell it's, like, seeping out constantly, or does it, or is it, like, does it seem like it's just starting in the water, as if there's, like, refuse dumped in the water that's reacting with that we'd have to get out of the river and dump back on land to get it to stop?
Yeah. So as you're trying to figure this out, you guys anybody who's trying to puzzle this out can give me perception, or just, like, straight intelligence to be thinking, or knowledge nature, and basically, like, what you roll will give you different kinds of information. Because you also asked several questions in there, so.
Yeah, and I do just want to clarify, my understanding is the waterfall coming down appears to be pretty clean water, right? And
More
then
or
as soon
less,
as
yeah.
and then as soon as it, like, hits the lower level, that's when it starts being stinky and nasty looking.
Like Cedric.
I was just a 12 for perception for me.
Okay.
19.
For what?
Perception.
Okay.
Perception, I got a 22.
Okay. Fletcher, what were you rolling?
I got an 18 for a nature check.
Okay. So between all of those sorts of things, y'all looking at the walls, like, there are definitely, not places where, like, you don't see, like, seepage in that sense, and you don't necessarily see any sort of like veins of ore or anything in the walls like right in contact with the water, but you do notice every once in a while, like even though this is the river, like there is still just sort of like water and moisture in the mine, and so you can see little trickles of things. Gesundheit. And Fletcher, thinking about your alchemical education and what Cedric said about this galena, yeah, you think that like probably quite a bit of this problem, including like the acids that were in the water, were probably mostly Mafak dumping, but some of this, the lead compounds, might be a result of just sort of like ambient reactions of moisture with the veins of galena, so you might have to sort of block off those areas where those veins had been exposed, as opposed to just like, you know, blocking this from further mining.
Okay.
So like,
So can we tell the galena that's like being affected, is it within these walls going down to the river, or we're seeing it as like the humidity in the cave from much further up is kind of causing a seepage?
More that,
Like,
yeah.
like
there isn't any galena like right along the walls of this river.
Okay,
It looks like it's yeah. The three of them were able to see like trickles coming from, you know, like
kind of like up above and then coming down and
Yeah.
flowing over that wide surface
Yeah.
and down. Okay, well, I was trying to see like, was he digging on these walls going down to
No.
the river? Okay, so it's just we'd have to. Okay. So I guess
if
we
can
pool all that together.
yeah, so if we can like really, really close off both of these tunnels leading into this room, all three, I guess.
And how are we supposed to fill complete tunnels exactly?
That's a great question, Kay. How about you all think about that while we're on our break? Yeah, thank you to everyone who's been watching and hanging out. We appreciate you. Thank you for the cheers. Thank you for the gift subs. Thank you for redeeming your channel points to cause chaos. So we're going to go on a quick break. Don't forget, you can hang out and get another peek at the promotional posters for our 50th live stream extravaganza marathon thing, where people will be playing one-shots all day. There's just going to be 3 one-shots and then our episode. So that's 12 hours of TRPGs in a day. It's going to be great. Yeah, so hang around for all that stuff, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Bye, everybody. Hi everyone, we're back from our break. Hope you got a snack or something. We all got snacks. Peter's looking very frustrated because they didn't come up with a solution to the problem yet, but that's okay, because we're gonna figure it out. They've got a whole hour and a half. Or so. Maybe it's like an hour and 15, but yeah. Plan.
Can we hit it real hard with your warhammer?
You know, that works for most problems, but for some reason, I don't feel like it'll fix this one.
The boy.
How do we stop?
I remember you saying the construction did not look good when we came in. Does it actually not look good? Or were you just saying things?
Honestly, Peter doesn't remember whether the quality was low or whether that was just shit talking.
So you did like a check because you were trying to figure out if it was quote unquote dwarven craftsmanship or not, and my basic answer based on your roll was like, I mean, it's not like awful, but it's also not like awesome.
It's inferior craftsmanship, but I don't think we could like take advantage of it to collapse the tunnels super easily. But I suppose we could look for weaker spots in the tunnels and maybe collapse those. I could look for those, but I don't have any equipment to cause like a cave-in or anything like that.
We can make a pipe bomb.
I don't have any pipes.
Ow.
Oh, you can like shove shove the stuff in a lot of different kind of like round, small things. And
if the stuff is gunpowder, you don't have that because that's not a thing in this world because guns break D&D real bad.
there has to be some sort of explosive powder used for like fireworks or something.
Yeah, but I don't think you're carrying any of that.
Nope.
How big
I
a
don't
magical
have any.
boom can? How big a magical boom can Fletcher make today?
No boom.
I don't have like any explosion spells, but so you said most of the things we saw around here that are sort of like what looks like is being contributed from the wall and going down to the river looks like it's a lot of the it's like lead and silver is what he's identified previously.
Yeah, and you know from Pops's analysis of the water sample that there were lead compounds and oil vitriol in the
So the only thing I can think of is these things are reacting from the wall and seems like it's coming out in the water from probably like the like slag that he's dumped down in the river because it was these compounds that react much more easily and release out into the environment. But in general, these things react a lot less in their sort of like pure metallic form that you when you extract them out from being in a compound. And my lightning bolts can melt both lead and silver, so could extract these things, run through the veins, and essentially melt it into their metallic form that will then not react any longer. And if I could get that into the water as well and conduct through the water, it could potentially at least slow down what's happening to what's in the water by at least giving it like a surface level transformation into a more metallic form that would slow its release, and whatever does get released could potentially bioremediate as it moves through the soil towards the river and be extracted along the way and not be coming out into the river.
I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's so cool.
I mean, we're still back to blowing it up, so like I was close.
That's such an awesome answer, though. It's like founded in science. It's got the spell that you've got. That's super cool. I love it.
So that would
Do
be
it,
just for like
Fletcher.
this. That would be just for the stuff in this cave, right? Like it wouldn't take care of the rest of the mine.
No, that would stop what we can see as what looks like the sources going into the water actively. So that if we can't find anything to do to the rest of the cave, it would at least stop that until he came back to resume working. And we'd have to think about other things we would want to do for the rest of it. I'm assuming, I don't think we ever did like a perception check or anything, but this whole time when like the shaft coming down through the sand, I was assuming that was constructed out of mines are usually like large wooden beams and things constructed around. Well, I can burn shit, so that does not really matter.
Yeah, it's a 50-foot square shaft made out of wood with a wooden ladder because, it's going down through sand, so he had to construct something to keep that from caving in. But once it was deep enough, then it was just rock. Yeah.
Then down here, it's just rock.
Yeah.
So we'd be able to stop these sources, and I can light the mine shaft on fire and collapse the entrance down in here, which would then probably have a lot of sand and things flowing back down into the beginning of his tunnel and fill in a lot of this initial portion. So he would have at least a hell of a time getting back down here. Anything else that we would try to do, I would think we'd want to focus on hindering him as much as possible. Like if we were able to take out the bridge so he no longer has an easy way to get back and forth across the river, could be our other focal point.
I like it. See, this is
Makes a lot
why
of
we have
sense.
Fletcher. He's the smart one.
The offshoot rooms on the other side, like on the first side, did they look like they were pretty well tapped? Because I think I remember they were just like little short.
Yeah, they all, so again, all
Okay.
of this, like everywhere that you've looked, it looks like he went for like the big obvious veins first. So in one of the first rooms, when you guys were coming down originally, is where Nautia and Fletcher saw the little bit of like sparkle on the wall, and you asked Cedric to identify it for you. So like there are still like little bits of stuff in some of those rooms, but none of it is like a really big vein kind of thing.
The big stuff is on the other side, so collapsing the bridge might
Yeah.
be might get us most of the way there.
Barky dog.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking. He's just talking.
Sorry, the microphone was not on mute.
He's saying hello.
They do not like the thunder.
Oh, yeah. So would you like me to start there? I can try this. I can do this twice. So I was thinking the wall and hope that by the small presence of the minerals throughout there that it could conduct at least somewhat through the wall and hopefully spread in sort of the network that's there in the wall and stop as much as possible. And then aim kind of around where we see the pollution begin down below, because I would think that's where the slag is sort of pluming out from and moving downstream. I can try that first before we think of our other options, unless somebody else has something else you want to try.
Nope, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, that sounds
Better than
good.
any ideas I have.
Okay. Then I guess I'm going to try. So I don't have to go anywhere to cast this. I'm going to try. I guess first a lightning bolt at the wall, where the seepage and the seams have sort of happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think first. I think I'd like to ask Nautia to go over and sort of point out where there seems to be the largest like sources of these things. So I have like a target to go for that seems like it's going in and could potentially connect to other ore veins that might be in there to kind of let the electricity, kind of arc through as much as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can go down and take a really close look.
Okay. And Kay and Cedric, you're just kind of hanging out near Fletcher, just waiting. Okay. Yeah, Nautia, give me a perception check.
I mean, Cedric can go too if he wants. He has to cross the bridge again, though.
Climb down the wall above the acid water.
No, it's not. It's not down below. It's the one up, like just
up above.
across the way.
Okay.
Yeah, not the wall above the river.
As a 10.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to point out
Perception.
some of the more obvious spots and sort of be like, hey, these are the biggest ones kind of thing.
Okay. Then I'm gonna cast one of my lightning bolts towards that area and to see how much will melt and sort of slow down the seeping from the walls.
It's a ranged attack, I guess.
It is a 120-foot straight line
Awesome. Yeah.
ranged attack.
Roll me the attack. The AC is pretty low because you're just trying to hit an area. So.
Okay. Let's see.
The wall's dexterity is very low. I bet.
Well, it's all of his range spells are touch attacks, so it's not even using the. Or no, it does use the dexterity. Anyway.
Well, it's It doesn't say it's a ranged touch attack.
Is this lightning bolt?
Yeah, lightning bolt.
Oh, is this like it has to do a reflex save or whatever?
This wall has advantage on reflex.
Yeah, it can make a reflex save to take half damage. Is the yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you to do an attack roll just because you're trying to like
Okay.
aim it at a specific part of the wall rather than like, you know, battlefield people who are right in front of you kind of thing. But
I don't think I've ever done anything that wasn't a ranged touch. What do I add for just the attack?
no, it would still be a ranged touch. I'm still treating it like that. Yeah, it's just to make sure that you're aiming it at the spot that Nadia's pointing at. Yeah.
Okay, so it's Dex and my base attack. Okay. 22.
Okay, yeah, not a problem at all. I'll let you describe what it looks like as the lightning goes into the ore in a moment, but first, we're redeeming the Wild Magic Surge because you cast a spell. And I already rolled for it, because some of the things on this list aren't applicable if you're not, like, in combat or whatever. So, Fletcher, the spell goes off, and Kay and Cedric, you can't see each other all of a sudden, and Fletcher, you don't see either of them either. Now you can describe what your spell looks like when you, when it hits the metal.
Yeah, so I guess I put out my hand, then basically put down all fingers except one, and out of my pointer finger, the lightning bolt streaks out across the cavern, which was dark, but then is suddenly illuminated like a flash bomb, which I guess is when they then they can't see them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I noticed that in that like flash of light. But it, crackles across the cave and hits into that vein. And you see that like, it looks like metal melting when it gets that red hot glow and it hits there, and you see that suddenly then spread with that crackle like through the wall, through those veins. And it very quickly cools because of, the cool temperature and the water and everything in the room. But it's cooled down into that sort of metallic form, and the other part of those compounds have burned off, and it is now sort of the metallic form of those metals in those veins.
Love that. So now there's this like shiny spider web. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, but also two of your friends are not visible right now.
But I
also
still
not
see
see them?
Nautia.
No,
Nadia's on
Nadia's
the
still
other
there
side.
because she's
Okay.
by where you aimed your spell at. Yeah.
Okay.
But can I also not see them?
Yeah.
They
So
just
I think I'm like,
vanished?
Cedric? Okay.
What?
Fletcher, Kay.
Cedric?
Okay.
Can we hear them?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, you're
that-
at least you're not in like a different plane or something, but you became invisible. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think the lightning did something weird to my eyes because I can't see you guys. I'm seeing these like kind of big blobs, and also for some reason I can't
Well,
see where
yeah,
you guys are.
It was really bright.
Oh no.
But-
Like Cedric and Kay, you can still see everything else. You just can't see each other,
Each other.
and they can't see either of you. But after about 60 seconds, you become visible again.
Well,
You just like
I feel
pop
like
back.
it's
I'm like, okay, yeah, you were that.
Yeah, they're exactly where they were before, but they were
I
just...
don't know why
I hate
that
this
happened.
place and I want to leave.
Yeah, that has never happened before, and all the times I've seen this spell practiced at the college. I don't know why you became invisible.
I blame the place.
That's what all the wizards say.
At least
Never
this time
happened
it
before.
didn't happen to Nautia, because the last ones all happened to Nautia.
I hate
Okay.
this place. Can we please leave?
It could be that there's like a magical ore or something like that you hit, and it maybe release some kind of magical arcane power.
Maybe.
Or it could have, if there's some kind of mineral in here we haven't seen or identified, or could be completely new, seeing as where we are in Arda. It could have refracted some of the arcane energy from the spell and created it into a different effect. I have no idea. I hope it doesn't happen again if I'm going to try to do one into the water now, though.
Sheryl, do I know of any like magical ores? Like I know that there's like mithril and adamantine in the world, but are there like ores that have magical effects like this? Like, would this be something I was familiar with at all?
I roll a geology check.
Geology's part of nature, right?
Nature, sure.
Nature
yeah.
check. Everybody drink.
Hey.
Yeah, Sheryl, I want to ask, is the wild magic, like, is it something that's just been happening? So, like, when Cedric has healed people before in a different continent, when I've cast magic, have random things happened before?
Sometimes.
Or is this a new thing we're unfamiliar with because we're in Arda? Like,
no, I mean, for, cards on the table is just for funsies, but, like, yeah,
but to
magic
explain,
is... I mean, magic is one of those things that, like, nobody can fully explain, right? Like, that's why it's a thing at the university, is because, like, you try to understand it and figure out how to harness it to do certain things, right? So, yeah, like, the idea of wild magic or, like, pseudo-random magic effects happening when someone is channeling power is not completely unheard of. You all might be experiencing it a bit more because you're doing a lot more magic than the average person does on a daily basis, but, like, yeah, it's not like this is completely unheard of. Yeah.
I just love that it's like exactly like science, right? Where it's like I followed the methodology that the previous postdoc wrote down, and for some reason I got completely different results. Like this spell
Featherbeard.
never works. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like that. Sometimes things happen and you don't understand why. Did you do a nature check?
I did. I got a 5.
A 5. I mean, yeah, mithril, adamantine. Rocks. You think all rocks are magical, Cedric?
It's true. Magic. I don't understand arcane magic. It makes no sense to me. So, I don't know.
Cedric would love the geologist dad on Dungeons and Daddies, and they talk about rocks, and they've done these hilarious like rock raps. It's the show is the funniest thing I've ever listened to.
Oh man, crossover. Oh man.
So I guess, I mean, maybe Cedric and Kay back up a little bit. Don't be at the bottom of the rock pile, and I'm gonna try to do this again into the water to see if I can do something to what seems to be what he's been dumping down there.
Yep, no problem with not standing next to your big lightning bolt. That sounds like a good advice to me.
I think I'm gonna aim. So especially when we were in here the first time, we kind of looked to where the water is still like clean at the end of the waterfall, and then eventually the pollution starts to come up, and I'm going to aim kind of right in between those two things, assuming that the current would be moving the contaminant before it really would reach the surface, and kind of like trying to hone in on where I think most of the slag and stuff he's probably been dumping is sitting down there.
Yeah.
And so if I hit a big amount, it'll hopefully again travel through whatever is metallic down there. Okay, so do you want roll another
for your aiming
basic
again.
attack? Okay. 12.
Okay. I mean, again, you're trying to hit an area, so it's not nearly as hard as it would be to hit a person. So yeah, it goes in that direction. Would you like to describe what it does when it hits the water instead?
Well, I guess this time, I mean, we don't see you see me do the same motion to fire out a lightning bolt. But this time when it hits the water, there's definitely a huge boom, and water is flying out. Like if you've seen lightning bolts hit in lakes or the ocean and stuff. So there's definitely water flies up everywhere. But then down, I mean, if I hit it down in the water, you would see a glow down in the water that would kind of spread in whatever piles are down there. So there'd be much more glowing than what was in the wall, where it was a spider web sort of veins through the wall. This time would be big glowing rocks, and I imagine probably some bubbling happened too. And now there's some steam coming off the water as all of that sort of melts and re-solidifies, and at least puts a capping over all of that material of the exterior of those minerals melting and reforming to hold in all the crap that was in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, that was such a creative use of spells for solving this problem. I'm giving you a point of inspiration, so that's one free reroll on something in the future. Yeah,
nice.
Because that was really very cool and creative. Yeah.
And I did not. Last time we were in here, I did not have lightning bolt. There was literally nothing I could have done about this. And I just remembered about the lightning bolts that it can melt any metal with a low melting point, even if it's like on a person and you hit it with it, like with the lightning bolt, and it can crash right through things, that it can break through barriers and hit things like on the other side of doors and walls and crap if you shoot right through stuff. So
Yeah.
After
no,
the
my
water
tin
goes,
armor.
Kay like looks at Cedric. She's like, "Remind me to never piss off Fletcher ever again."
I mean, good luck. He's a little titchy sometimes, you know?
I don't want to be lightning bolt to death, though.
I'm sure
but I hear you because you're 10 feet away, and I'm like, I don't use magic recklessly.
I feel like this is more of a like, mop. Like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Fletcher, please don't lightning bolt me. I know I'm really annoying, but please don't kill me with a lightning bolt. Or on
Way
fire.
too complicated of a spell to cast on you.
I don't know if I'm offended or not. Thanks, I think.
After the I guess like echoing roar of all of that probably like dies down in the cave. I'm like, okay, now what? Are we gonna try to do something to that bridge?
Torch the bridge! Torch the bridge!
Well, it's
But
a stone bridge.
It's stone.
Shoot it with
Also,
some
do
more
we want to
lightning.
do anything on the other side before we do the bridge?
Was there anything that looked like you could really easily do anything to?
Were there wooden supports up there? Or anything like that?
Nope.
Well, Cedric
Well,
and I pretty
stone.
much smashed everything we saw. And I stole the shiny rocks.
Yeah, but you didn't see any potential weak points in the caves.
Cedric and Kay, and Nautia on the other side, can you go and look at what is the mechanism connecting the bridge into the walls? Because it's spinning, so it's not connected by that large width of stone. It's connected by something inside. So it's either a small piece of stone we could do something to, or wood. So can you see if you see anything more at the ends of the bridge?
Yeah, can I go take a look at that?
Search
there should be
checks.
some
Like
kind
I'll
of-
kind of
yeah.
fly underneath and look too.
Can we both? Or
Yeah,
just-
search
just
checks.
not?
Search.
Because I'm not coming down those rocks. So you all have to look. I'm not coming down there.
Delegating.
11.
Cindy really doesn't like her dice. 23?
Well, that's out. That was actually, I rolled an 11. I've got that at +0 at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Do I get to add stone cutting to this since it's a stone bridge?
Sure.
All right, then a 13.
Awesome. Kay, you like get down on your belly and you're looking at like the seam between like the bridge and the pathway here, and like right up against the crack you can see he's right, there's like a little narrow, like it looks like a stone roller of some kind that's attaching it on this side, and you imagine there might be something similar on the other side.
She's like still face down. And she's like, yeah, there's like a stone rollery thing in here. She's like, has her arm up and like, it's stone though. It's not wood.
Hmm.
You think we could jam it with something?
Well, that would just make it so that it wasn't spin anymore.
Safer.
Oh, right.
Safer.
Well, I mean, we could like flip it
We
and
are
then I guess.
fantasy OSHA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was bound to happen.
Never mind. Sorry, that was dumb.
Oh.
Please don't lightning bolt me.
The only other thing I can think of right now is I have these two vials, and I pull them out of my pack, that we had identified back in town as universal solvent. I don't know if that could weaken it in any way, that somebody then could more easily snap the stone inside to potentially get the bridge to fall away from the wall, and then its own weight at that point should then take it down. Otherwise, I don't. That's too small of a space for me to do much to. I could add a little bit more. I can conjure a little bit of acid, if we're trying to just weaken it as much as we can. it's so small that I don't think I could get a magic missile in there to try to like crack it with using just force.
Doesn't Nautia like vomit up acid every now and then?
I do indeed. Now that you mention it.
Own it.
I mean, don't we all? Yeah.
Yeah, technically.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, maybe Nautia could just like burp on it a lot, and then Cedric could hit it.
I'm down for that if you are, Nautia.
Yeah, I can do that breath weapon several times actually if we just hang out here for a little while.
I feel like we just do it on this one side of the bridge, and maybe it'll weaken it enough that it'll collapse and fall in.
I think if we crack that pillar, that's clearly what's extending into the walls to hold up the suspended spinning portion. The weight of all of that stone should then start to take the rest of it down. I think it's all relying on that inner cylinder that Kay saw. It's axle.
That makes sense. I'm down.
So I guess whoever's at the bottom of the rubble, I'll toss them the 2 vials of universal solvent.
Mm-hmm.
And say, like,
Also, there's a river of acid beneath us.
I mean, I can
use.
get them from you too.
Mm-hmm.
So no tossing of the vials.
Oh yeah, or Nautia. Yeah, I can do Nautia.
Yeah.
I can try to come down there. If
No, you
Or I
stay
can-
over
or I
there.
can- I
these
can
are
try to
these
aim-
are very treacherous rocks, Fletcher. It's
I can try to aim
and
my
Getting
expert-
them back up
Yeah.
will work better if you're up there.
I can try to aim my acid splash from up here. It should reach, but you would probably need to stand back because launching it that far, I imagine there's going to be some dripping. If we need that, I have a little bit more acid I can add in.
So
Sure.
we want to start with mine or start with the universal thing, or I mean mine is basically free. I can do it once every some number of rounds.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, let's start with what we know we can use again. So I can try casting my my spell as well before we start using up our consumables.
Yeah.
Kay moves very far away from
Yeah.
the possible splashback of any kind of acid or hammer.
If we're killing the bridge, do we want to get you two? Well, I guess we can't get Cedric clear yet, but we could get Kay clear. Is
Like
there any
back up
other
the
reason for
rubble?
Kay to be down here. Yeah,
Yeah,
back
that
up the
sounds good.
rubble.
Yeah, Kay could probably come back up the rubble.
Yeah. So I'll bring one end of a rope up to you, Fletcher, and then take the other end back down, and Cedric and I can hang on to it, so that Kay has a little bit better time getting up.
Do I need to make a check for getting up the rubble?
You know it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could be helpful. Mm-hmm.
Yes, if you want to get back up the rubble, you have to roll. It's a balance check. But you said you're
Arch
holding
nemesis, the balance check.
you're holding a rope across.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I was looking up how many hit point stone has. So
I got an 18.
okay, yeah, you make it back up, no problem.
All right. I'm gonna stand as far back, there's kind of a little divot in the wall, so I'm not in Fletcher's kind of line of sight, shooting towards the bridge. I'm just gonna stand my back to the wall until they're done weakening the bridge as much as they can.
Trying to eat away this stone, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Then Nautia, with all the dignity in the world, just
Starts
Barf
vomiting on the ground.
down a
like
caustic
a
liquid
sorority girl
right
on
at
a
the
Friday
joint of the
night.
bridge.
Ryan. Amazing. You don't need to roll attacks, but because you're right up there on it. But how much damage does that do?
That's a 1d8 of damage.
Please hold. And it's a 1 and 2, isn't it? Yeah.
1.
Mhm. Okay, hold on a sec. Okay. So you might be here a while. So I'll say, how many times did you like to?
So it's I get to do it again once every 1d4 rounds, and
Right.
I also rolled a 1 on that. So basically every 12 seconds,
Sure.
I can do it again.
Awesome. How many times would you like to do it before I tell you how much progress you're making?
Let's do like 3 and then see if that looks like anything has happened.
Okay. So
Do I need to roll it 3 times?
no, because I just did the math if you got max damage every time, which, like, obviously you're not. If you did max damage every time, it would take you approximately 67 times to wear through it, because it's a rock.
So basically I'm thinking that it's splashing also like on the rock right in front of me, so I
Yeah.
can see that like nothing is happening.
It's not nothing, it's just very slow.
Very yeah.
So yeah, you can keep going for as many as you want, but like I bet you can assume that after a certain threshold of attempts, you'll receive a penalty of sorts. So, you know.
So is that like to eat all the way through it would take that long?
Yeah.
Or just enough to do like structural weakening?
So yeah, let's
It's only 13.4 minutes. Assuming you get to do it every 2 rounds.
Like if we're trying to, I guess,
okay.
weaken it enough that then the force of Cedric's warhammer coming down, like there could then create the crack through the stone.
So if
Yeah.
we were to say that you were trying to eat 2/3 of the way through it, it would still take 45 max acid breaths or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah,
if you'd want
that
to do
would
it
be
45
sort of
times.
consult with Cedric and be like, is this anything?
I don't feel like it's as effective as we kind of hoped.
Do we think the universal solvent would be stronger? I mean, does it work that way?
I feel like
Got
the universal
two, right?
solvent is for glues.
That's what I thought.
Can we
But
just try and pick up
it
some of
does
the,
say-
the gross water? So then dump it on?
A truly universal solvent would dissolve anything.
This is
So-
a truly universal solvent. The reason why, like, the description only says that it like dissolves 2 things, but it's because those things are incapable of being dissolved by anything but universal solvent. It sort of assumes that by the name it dissolves everything else as well.
Well, we have 2 of them, so we can try one.
Try
See what
one
happens.
bottle.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right.
Let's do it.
So you are carefully pouring 1 vial of universal solvent down this crack to dissolve the stone. Okay. So yeah, you do see that like as it trickles down in, it starts to and there's obviously some sort of chemical reaction happening that the stone is starting to like you can see it being sort of eaten away as you look through the crack. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, this is way more effective than whatever you guys were doing.
Well, then smash it, Cedric. What are you waiting for?
Yeah, I
Exactly your
guess
revenge.
try. Yeah, try to see if that's enough. If you can't tell in there how much it looks damaged right now, and then if it doesn't work, we have another bottle we can try.
Okay. I'll wait till it's done
Yeah.
before I start swinging at it.
Okay, so it like hisses for a minute or 2 and then it's done. And you're going to try hitting it with your warhammer?
Mm-hmm.
So exactly where/how are you trying to hit it?
I think I'm trying to hit. So I'm standing on the edge of the cliff, and I'm swinging for like the first foot of the bridge.
Okay,
like,
so
I'm trying,
straight down.
yeah, straight down, like trying to. Yeah. So I'm
Cedric-
obviously not standing on the bridge,
Right,
but
yeah.
Do you have anything, or is there anything that you found further in when you were wrecking stuff that's hard but could slot in there so you could hit that so that it would go in and strike the stone down there so that all your force gets concentrated on that small area. Like I'm thinking if there was like a very hard piece of metal, maybe like a ring from a barrel or something, that if you hit that, it would act like what you
Right. Like
split
a
wood
splitting
over
wedge
or something. Something that could act as a wedge, so that your force is focused on a very small area, so it's applying more pressure down there.
What were those like barrels and stuff held together with?
Yeah, so the wooden tubs that he'd had the acid in, like they were like barrels. They had a metal ring around them. You guys destroyed everything and tossed it in the pit, if I remember correctly.
I do have a
I
buckler.
can fly back over and get something.
You do have a buckler. Or Nautia can go get something.
Yeah, Nadia, do you want to go get a piece of scrap metal?
Sure. There may be some dragging involved, depending on the weight, but yeah.
Weren't there spikes in the pit, or was the pit just a pit?
It was
He
just
just
a
made
pit.
the pit. It was a magical pit that he opened up by magic.
It was one of the
Wait,
patches off of the robe. It just makes a 10-foot pit.
And the pit was still there? It's like permanent?
Yes, it's a permanent
Oh,
pit.
wow.
Man, if only we had the ability to make a pit, we could make a pit
Yeah, were
Right
there any
where
other
the-
patches that might be something useful?
right where the axle of the bridge is,
Uh-huh.
and
Was one of those like maybe an explosive patch or something?
No, most
No,
of them
nothing
are
else
like-
on the robe would be useful for us right now.
I like to imagine
Yeah, I
that I
can-
was like about to swing. I was like halfway through my swing when you were like, actually.
Yeah,
was like,
I can fly back over and grab a piece of the barrel ring.
Okay.
Like I will set my bag down. Like I am not carrying anything else while I'm going over
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you go over and fetch some of that and bring it back.
there. Okay.
You're going to fashion it into some sort of wedge type something.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm assuming we're gonna have to sort of hammer that down into a shape first.
Okay.
All right, and then I'm just gonna start beating on it to try and like force it into the crack that is opened up by the solvent.
Okay. Yeah, give me an attack and then some damage, presuming that you don't like get a 1.
I got a 9.
I mean, that's yeah, it's fine. Damage.
8 damage.
8 damage. Okay, so you hit it. Nothing like immediately happens, but you know it was a good strong hit.
All right, I'm gonna keep doing that then.
Okay.
Just keep
Do
attacking.
it again! Woo, Cedric! Okay, is like cheering from the top and
Yep.
like
More damage.
moral support.
9 damage.
Okay, yeah. So this time you hit it just right, and you hear a crack.
Okay.
Alright.
Can I put a little more acid down there to try to act through the crack a little bit before he hits it again?
Sure. You're using your acid breath.
Yeah.
How many more are you doing?
I like kind of hop
Do
out of the
2
way
because
as Nadia
that one
like.
was another 1.
Yeah.
6, so 7 points total.
So you've done 5 breath weapons total.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So you do a little more of that and some more acid splurps down into the crack. Sound effects.
Nope.
No Foley for this, please.
We still have the other vial, right? We
Yeah.
didn't use it yet.
All right, I'm gonna swing one more time. It's a 22 versus AC,
Yep.
and
Another 9
more
damage. It cracks again, and it's like you hear the crack, and then Cedric, like Stone, you can feel, even though it's slight, the vibration as something is starting to slide, and you take a step or 2 back as like this whole side of the bridge just slides down the wall and crashes into the water, and it basically, the weight of it pulling snaps the piston, or the pivot on the other side, and that eventually comes crashing down as well. So there's this big splash of river water, but the bridge is now under the water. Yeah, very nice.
High fives all around. I mean, just with Nautia, because
Right.
she's the only one that's near where I am
Yes.
right now.
Yeah. We're at the top of the steps, just like, yay.
Off
We're,
clapping.
we're doing what we
much
can.
worse. Like, yeah, go Cedric. Yes, we're gonna
Yeah.
hit that thing.
I like do a couple of like swings with my hammer, just kind of. All right, we ready to get out of here?
Well, besides taking down the shaft down here after we get out, do we kill his friend Wallace in that room?
What? Who?
You
Was
may
it
not
a-
remember that when we first came in, there was a watery substance in a room that hurt when we came into contact with it, and he had given it a name, and it seemed to sort of keep him company, like this skull that he talked to and kept with him. You may not remember that either. He was extremely, extremely odd. And so that's, we're like physically destroying his mind, but we could also emotionally destroy him by killing his friends.
Do it. Let's fill up Wallace.
I don't know how you kill a blob of water, but
I mean, I think it was some kind of gel or jelly or
I could pee into it.
pudding, one of those amorphous type monsters.
Okay. Dump
That's the
a
only
vial of
thing-
universal solvent into it.
That might work.
I kind of now want to dump it on him, but I'm just saying, now that I know that it eats through anything, it seems like the best weapon we've encountered this far.
I mean, surely we have other things that can hurt a blob.
I mean, probably just magic, but
Fletcher, since you interacted with Wallace previously, give me an Arcana check.
19. Or I'm sorry, 18.
Yeah, so it's really small and it didn't seem to move much, so like if it's a jelly or a slime of some kind, it's not a very powerful one, and yet you imagine that like a fairly simple spell, something like cold or a fire or something like that might damage it. You do know that like a lot of slimes and jellies and whatever tend to be resistant to acid because they often do some kind of acid damage themselves, but yeah, there are other kinds of magical spells that could incapacitate or kill something like that pretty easily.
Yeah. So we can take a vote.
Sure.
I don't know if that's too dark for y'all. I'm in favor.
Kill it.
I think I'm fine with killing slimes. Just because somebody's given one a name doesn't mean it.
Yeah, is it actually
Yeah.
like a? Is it actually? Does it? It didn't seem like it really was very, conscious.
Sentient at all?
Sure, let's do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so does that mean Cedric and Nautia, you're coming back up past the rubble?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, we got to get Cedric up.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a balance check?
Yes. Is there a rope
I'm
or are you
still-
just crawling?
Yeah, I'm anchoring at my end as best I can.
And then Kay and I will have it at the other end.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Cedric.
Oh, that's a 7.
Glad I didn't pull the stats down for the rubble yet. Okay. I need some d6s. Make another either balance or tumble check. And you took 3 points of damage for smacking a knee on a rock as you slipped and fell.
17.
17. You do not slide off the edge into the river.
Super embarrassed. Bright, rosy flushed cheeks.
You'd think we'd know where to put our feet by this point. We've gone
You
up
would
and down
think.
this so many times.
I feel like every time someone slips, though, like it's a whole new ball game.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
I made it.
That's
I'm
what
just saying.
happens when you fall, is that like you fall and the rubble all shifts, and that's what brings you close to or causes you to fall over the edge. So yeah, every time you walk across it after somebody has fallen, it's new terrain.
So, am I across now? Did
No.
I make it across? No, I have to do it again.
Yes.
16.
Okay. You make it the rest of the way. Renewed resolve after you embarrassed yourself. You scooch the rest of the way across without issue.
Hey guys, I made it.
Okay, we're all back up the ramp.
Mm-hmm.
We're so proud of you. Let's
Alright,
go
let's
kill Wallace.
go
I
kill
cannot help.
Wallace.
I have nothing magical.
My cat.
She wants to help.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're killing Wallace?
Yeah, let's kill Wallace. I guess we walk in there, like look at it.
I cast a ray of frost at it.
Okay, you cast a ray of frost at it. Is that a attack?
It is.
Okay,
That would be should be a ranged touch.
Yeah.
Let me double check. Yep, range touch attack.
Mm-hmm.
$13.
Yep, so your ray of frost, little like bead of magic, flies out from your hands and hits this little puddle, and it just like, like fast version of a video of water freezing. It just and is all solid, and it's not like
Cedric, hit it with your hammer.
Yeah, it's not like it was moving before, so it's not like much has changed, but it's now frozen.
I hit it with my hammer.
You hit it with your hammer,
Smash.
and
Smash.
it shatters.
Yeah.
As satisfyingly as when you step on like that really thin ice that's created when like a puddle freezes and then there's like air under it. Love stepping on that. It's so crispy. Anyway.
Then I jump up and down on the bits.
Okay. You have shattered Wallace into many tiny frozen powdered pieces. R.I.P.
Cool. Did you
No.
guys check out that door again?
No.
There was. I mean, we went through. There was nothing there.
Before.
Oh,
Yeah, what was... It just had stones inset on it?
Yeah, in the door.
Did it look magic
Cedric,
at all?
you can look at it on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I
Take the
just want to
stones
check
out
that.
and steal them, and then sell them.
I mean,
Yeah, I
if you
think
want
it's
to check
the
it
last
out.
thing to check. Yeah, let's check it again. I feel like I didn't get a good chance the first time around because we were exploring.
Okay, so you're going back to the door. It's an iron door with 9 black stones set in it, and they can be rotated. And there is a lever handle.
And when you do the lever and open it, there is what on the other side?
Just a little room with nothing in it. Like it was like it's like a 5x10 room, nothing in it.
And the black stones, are they a kind of stone that I recognize?
I feel like you asked that before.
Oh, that
I
sounds
don't
like
remember
something I
whether or
would do.
not I told you though. I think I said it was black onyx. I feel like I remember you being like, "Oh, it's just black onyx, whatever." Yeah.
Oh, because it's the same as because we had seen Onyx previously.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They can be rotated. I want to kind of like spin them around and just like see if I feel like there's any kind of like. Actually, I want to open the door halfway.
Okay.
And I want to look at like the width of the door and feel like is there a mechanism in there?
Okay.
Like, are they part of a lock? Like, I guess is what I'm feeling for. Is like feeling for like a tumbler catching or something like that.
Yeah, okay. So it sounds like you're basically doing like a search check to try to like understand how this works. So give me
Yes.
that.
Okay. This is. I'm gonna. 1 second.
Brian, do you remember if you had Detect Magic up before when we were in here? Did anyone have detect magic up when
Oh.
we were in here before?
I want to cast guidance on myself
Okay,
before I do this.
cool.
That's a 17.
Okay, so you spin the stones with the door like half open, and you can't really hear or see any kind of like lock mechanism working.
I don't know.
I'm gonna cast detect magic and take a look.
Okay. So detect magic in the first round does what?
First round, presence or absence of magical auras.
Okay. So presuming that you're focusing on the door itself, you don't see a magical aura.
Okay. Since I've got it up, I'll just do a look around.
Okay. You see magical auras on your friends, various magic items that you're carrying or whatever. But you don't see any magical auras in like the hallway, the floor, the ceiling, whatever.
Okay. I'm gonna peek my head around the corner and look back towards the entrance real quick.
Same thing.
Okay.
Weird door.
Let's just take the stones and get out of here.
Are the stones removable?
Hmm?
Can I remove the stones?
You can certainly try.
How do I try? How should I try?
Hit it with your hammer? Try to break the door?
Are
A
they...
metal door?
Oh my
It's a
god.
metal door, right?
Can I just pry them out?
Make me reopen the book to the section on breaking things in dungeons.
I do have craft stone and metal.
You want to decraft something?
I want to decraft it.
Go ahead if you'd like to do that, or you can try smashing it.
That's a nat 20 for
Oh.
a 21 apparently.
Sure,
Really
yeah.
yeah.
You've got some... I don't think you have, like, stonecutter's tools or anything with you, but you use something that you have in your bags of whatever. But amongst the four of you, you have something that you can use to sort of, like, jimmy under the stones and pop them out.
Okay. Cool. Sorry. Go somewhere else.
I think it's hilarious. I love it.
All right, I have one more question for you, DM, before we bug out of here. I'm assuming that if I have a spell that should allow me to summon a small elemental, that will not work in our current world.
Let me hold on a sec, because I wrote down rules for that. Let me find what I said. Do. Okay. Rules time. Yeah, so as one might expect, because this world is cut off from the other planes, it's a little weird when it comes to summoning things. So let me find what I wrote about that. Nope, that's not it. Rules. Haha. If only I had clicked on the one that said rules. Spells that don't work. Here we go. What is this spell?
So it's summon nature's ally 2, and one of the things on the level 2 list is a small elemental.
Yeah, okay. So,
I'm assuming that's just like you told me with summon method, which is like if there happens to be something on this plane.
right. So it's like planar ally or summon monster. If you're trying to get something that's not like from this plane, there is a 50% chance of succeeding. Because there may or may not be one on this plane for
Somewhere
you to
on
yoink.
Well, shit, if it's a 50% chance, that's actually almost worth it. Basically, I could
God, I want you to summon another water mephit right now so bad. I don't know if that's
He
what
would
you're
be so
thinking.
mad, though.
That would be really funny, though.
Like, Nautia has no clue.
It would be really, really funny, though.
It would just really ruin his day. Yeah, so if I tried to summon a small, like rock elemental, and because it could only stay for like 3 rounds.
Yeah.
But if I told it to like,
Fuck
hey,
shit
tear
up.
up this tunnel
Yeah.
for 3 rounds,
Sure.
would that be worth trying? And if I did that, would I tell it to fuck up this tunnel that we're about to leave, like on this side, or try to cast it across the way? Because I think I can just... Well, I could actually stand over there and do it.
Right, because you could fly. You don't need the bridge.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, I'd say over here is where it was purely him digging through the ground, and then he found that natural source of water in the cavern. So I would feel worse about collapsing things over there where it feels like it was already partially formed naturally. I'd rather destroy all of this over here that was solely his
Make
creation.
it harder for me to get into it.
Yeah. And maybe
Okay.
further down, because then if we collapse the shaft downward, that should take care of the front hallway and all of that because of the sand pouring in. So
Yeah, I was
maybe
thinking
closer to the cavern.
That's what I was thinking. Worth a shot?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to roll the
once we're
percentile
ready
dice, or
to-
shall I?
Once we're ready to go, you roll it.
50% chance you get a friend.
Okay.
Okay, you do in fact get a friend. I rolled a 92.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, basically once everyone's clear and sort of around the corner, I just like summon a small rock elemental and just sort of give it the instruction of like, just break this.
It nods what, you could presume is its head and just starts wailing on the walls with its fists. Yeah.
It's like, especially where those doors are and stuff, I would assume that it could probably do a good bit of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna make sure everyone else is like down at the end at the ladder because I just compromised a mine shaft.
Yeah. No, it's great. Love it.
All right. Yay! I used my level 2 spell.
Shaft us!
Yay!
Nice. Love that. Alrighty. So you're all
It just
now...
means that rock elemental like was hanging out somewhere else in the world.
When
Yeah.
this is all over,
Back.
can you give us like a scene where Mafat comes back? Please?
and like finds all of this.
Yes, can you just narrate like a 2-minute story?
Because I love the idea of him like spending the time to dig out the entrance, dig out the tunnel now, and then gets to the bridge and the bridge is busted as well.
I mean, if you remind me at the end of the campaign, I guess. Sure.
At the end of the campaign? No, like next week.
Well, why would I tell you what's going on with him while we're still running the campaign?
Yeah, we still might run into him. We may get to kick his ass outside somewhere and he
gonna
never
say,
gets back here.
You made the cardinal mistake of leaving a bad guy alive, which means he now gets to be a recurring bad guy. Like,
That was not my decision. I wanted to kill him from the
Look,
beginning.
I
If
panicked.
we
I
remember
didn't
correctly.
know.
oh no, I'm not judging any choices. I'm just saying that he's still out there, so I can't tell you what happens to him. Andrew says he doesn't give him a fuck.
Nautia, when Nautia comes back, I'm gonna ask if she can fly up and get the net that we
Right,
rigged
yes.
up down.
Yeah, absolutely. I will fly up. I'll get the net. I'll pop the door open.
Cool.
Yeah.
Start climbing up.
Okay. Y'all climb back up the ladder and out into the desert. Nope,
Then
okay, not a sneeze.
Well, then turn around, and I imagine it's like each one of us is on one side of the like square entrance down, looking down, and I'm going to first cast grease down the shaft,
Yes.
so the sides down like in the
Classic.
middle get coated in grease, and then I was gonna cast a scorching ray, but I think it would be way more badass to just like hold out a lit candle
Oh!
and just drop it.
Yes. I would like
Yes.
fan art of this Nautilus, like the square, the view coming up with their four
Simple,
faces around it and the
classic.
camera coming down. Love that.
When that hits and you just see that area just go up, and I'm guessing this wood is very dry, being close to the desert, surrounded by sand, so that it should just like the whole thing should just start lighting up.
It's pretty impressive, actually. Y'all have to take a step back. Amazing.
I love it.
Love it.
Yeah. And yeah, you can pretty quickly hear the wood sort of like cracking and, breaking and popping as it's burning. And you might be aware of some slight shifting in the sand. It's not like it's gonna, like antlion pit on, under you kind of thing. But like
everybody
you can
make
feel
a balance
that like,
check.
yeah, exactly. You're making some instability there. Yeah. There's also the big windrow of rock and sand and soil and whatever that he's left near here if you wanted to dump more stuff down in the hole, but that's up to you.
I feel like once we notice that it's like we hear the like cracking and it definitely like shifts and like you start seeing like the small trails of sand starting to like go down, we would probably walk away. Like we know that the whole thing is going to collapse in. It's like walking away from an exploding building, but it's like the plume of like sand, like dust from under the ground behind us as the whole thing like caves in.
Yes.
Yeah, we all walk away without looking back.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. So you've come up and you've done that, and it looks really super cool because the sun is setting to the west, because you've been doing a lot of stuff today, and you started in the morning, but it's been a long time down there futzing around. So it is now evening time, but it means that the smoke plume looks really cool.
That's what matters.
What would you like to do now?
Probably need to set up camp. If the sun's going down, I mean, we probably want to sleep, I would assume. But we're back in the desert.
Yeah, we could get a little further away from it just in case.
Yeah,
And then
but
sleep.
He peeks out from behind the window.
But the next thing to do is head back through the jaws of death.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
When do we get fast travel?
talk to your wizard.
Wizard, when do we get fast travel?
I can't do that.
So I'll sort of remind you that, like, you went through the jaws of death, or the stone teeth, because of where you were starting in order to get to here, but it's not like this place is entirely sort of like fenced by the stone teeth. So there are other directions that you could go if you didn't want to go back through there. There are options.
Because we sort of looped around a little bit, right? So
yeah,
ultimately getting back to where we started would not be in the direction of the stone teeth.
Right. So basically, like, the stone teeth are east of here. You could go pretty much straight south and just like keep the mountains to your right, and you would, make it back into like the hill country where the myconids that you hung out with were, and then, eventually back to the rainforest, etc., etc. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It really depends on where you want to go next.
Sounds great.
Guys, we should talk about where we want to go next.
I mean, we definitely want to get near the river to make sure that it's looking better, which it'll take us a little while to get back there, so hopefully we'll see a difference. Especially if we can work our way up to where we saw where the pollution was dumping in. And then probably the jungle, so we can get what we need that we're expected to bring back from those birds before we go back to town.
Nautia, have you thought about where you want to go after this?
Yeah, we fixed the river. Wasn't that your whole deal?
I mean, once I know it's okay, I don't have to stay there. I could go back with you, I guess, or if you want me.
I feel like we've come too far at this point just to like drop you off back in the jungle and be like, see ya.
Yeah, we don't want to leave you alone if you don't want to be alone.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also really interested in like the whole thing with the temples and everything, because fixing that would mean I could actually go home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's.
You should stay with us then.
Yeah, I think that's a thing that we're going to continue on doing. I mean, I'm interested in it. Fletcher's interested in it. It's Kay's destiny.
I don't want it to be my destiny. It could be your destiny.
I mean,
And
it
I
might
can
also
help.
be. Yeah. You have a vested interest too.
I mean, we're all kind of wrapped up in it now.
It's
Sorry.
almost like it's a part of somebody's divine plan.
Almost like we're in somebody's story.
Okay.
Yeah. like the gods have laid out a
Oh my
path for
God.
us, and we need to tread in order to. It's almost like there's a
It's
purpose.
like everything we do is being controlled by somebody with the roll of a die.
I mean, we have had several people associated with temples tell us that we're special, so, you know.
That's true. I mean, I don't know about. I mean, you guys are pretty special. We're all pretty special.
And we did just have Friends Day.
Yeah, that was several days ago.
Whatever, it was close enough.
That's like a
You were
week
dead
ago,
for half
right?
of
Yeah, it was like
so
over
Yeah,
a
that
week
was-
ago.
that was-
remember.
Yeah, that was way before he even died.
It
Yeah.
took us a while to get him alive, and then
Yep.
we hung out there for a little while,
Yep.
and then we had to get back.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't
been
know
closer
if-
to like 2 weeks. Yeah.
I don't know if the days still count while I'm dead. Nadia, we might have to do some hand waviness about when our Friends Day is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Like, are you still friends with somebody when they're dead, or does it continue on through death? Does it restart the clock, is I guess what I'm saying, or is it
I mean,
pause the clock?
She
So instead of
went
like
with us
dog
to
years,
bring
it's
you
Cedric
back.
days.
Well,
Mhm.
and don't forget that like your deep and, connected friendship to him is what allowed you to bring him back, because you had to recall
Yeah.
all kinds of things about him in order to recall him.
I mean, I guess we're still connected because we were able to bring you back.
So I guess it
He
means
is
we're
the one who got you,
already
in fact.
technically friends?
Yeah, I guess so.
We weren't?
No, I mean me and Nadia. You guys, yeah, old news.
He hasn't known me as long.
Yeah.
I haven't passed the arbitrary goalpost yet.
Well, it looks like
It's
you
not
have to
arbitrary.
stay
It's
with
not
us longer.
arbitrary, it's
Two-
ceremonial.
Two dwarves rode on a raft through an underground ocean together for 42
Oh,
days,
God.
and
Very important stuff. Guys,
Very
you just-
important. It's very
Stop making
important
fun
that
of
I
my
respect your
culture.
beliefs.
Thank you. All right. So
Can we get away from this area a little bit?
I would love to.
all right, we
It
headed
seems
towards
we
the
were just
river.
bickering while we were walking, like we always do.
Yeah, I
well,
think
but like,
this is
what
another
direction
walk
are
and
you
talk.
walking in?
Can we
Well, if
walk
South.
like directly towards the river from here, or do we need to
Just
like?
like due south,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we saw from when we were up in the village, and especially on top of the mountain, we could just start heading south right now. So keep the sun and the mountains on our right, and we should cut off a lot of time compared to when we followed the river before. So I think we can just make our way that way till we want to camp.
Let's do it.
Cool. Okay. So you walk for a ways and eventually set up camp. Does that sound about right? Awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Yep,
Cool. That sounds
sounds like a good time for a long rest.
yeah, that sounds like a good stopping point too. So that I can figure out. I didn't know what direction they were going to go next, and now I have 2 weeks until our 50th episode on October 17th. Where we'll
Then
come
you
back.
have to-
I have.
Then you have to make it count.
I will have new story ready to go. So exciting. But yeah, thank you to everybody who's been hanging out and watching. We did some cool science chat. We used spells in cool ways to destroy the mine and fuck it up so that it's not usable
Fuck it
anymore,
up.
and ideally the river will not continue to be polluted so problematically anymore. But we appreciate you watching and cheering and gifting subs and hanging out and chatting with us. So yeah, if you like what we do, come back on October 17th, and literally anytime you come to our Twitch channel that day, you should see people playing TRPGs, unless you happen to hit one of the 15-minute breaks between one-shots. But there will be 3 different one-shots run by friends in the community that day. Nancy and Ryan and I are each playing in... Well, Nancy and I are playing in one together. Ryan's playing in one run by Nikki, friend of the show, who played Tulip, the Mousefolk monk you guys hung out with We protected the shiny beetles, the pop bugs. Andrew, who briefly played Mafok, is running a one-shot at 9 a.m. Eastern. He hates me, but there will be some friends from RP Geeks, a Psychomer project from the UK, which is why it's so early in the morning. And Allie from RP Geeks will be running the one-shot that Nancy and I will be in the midday time slot. So there's all kinds of good stuff happening, and there will be lots of new friend faces, people we haven't had on the show before, people who haven't done this before, people who haven't done live streaming before, people who haven't played D&D before. It's gonna be awesome. It'll be a good time. It's what we do on Nature Check. So yeah, thank you so much for all the support and your audience-ness, and we will see you in 2 weeks on October 17th. Bye, everybody.